and welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the Rise Mere Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. And we're joined for the 125th episode of MD Global Muscle, Ron Harris.
Hey, everybody.
Yay.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, Ron?
Good to see you. Happy New Year. We're recording this early in the new year of 2022. Looking forward to it. So hope you all had a great time with our Tiger Towers.
Ron, we had a wonderful New Year, but also 125. We're 1/8 of 1,000 episodes.
You're good at math.
So in another, how many years is that now? 1,000 episodes. If it's done 3 years to do 124, that's another. Work it out, Lauren. Yes. So sorry. Right. Okay then, mate. Yes, you had a good Christmas, New Year's. Everything was great.
Yes, sir. Ate a lot of good food, drank some drinks. All good. Ready to rock.
Yeah. It's good. We're ready for all your leg selfies for 2022, mate.
Yeah. Can't wait. It's gonna be a great year.
Yeah. No. To be honest, mate, I was kind of not glad. I'm never glad to see the back of a year, but I was ready to restart for 2022. You know, because I think towards the end of 2021, it just got a bit surreal for me, mate. I've got to be honest. You know, all the deaths and everything. It's like it just. And to be honest, I still can't get my head around the Shawn Rhoden passing. I still can't. It still doesn't feel real to me.
Yeah, you know, I'm hoping that year was a real anomaly. It was just a cluster of unfortunate passings that I hope we never see the likes of that again. You know, we'll look back years from now and say, remember 2021, how crazy that was with so many people were passing away and everything. I really hope we're past all that, because 2022, the virus I think it's going to back off in a big way as this year moves. I think we're going to be, I want to say a year from now, I feel like everything's going to be back to normal. Fingers crossed. Yeah. But it's been slow going. My goodness. So yeah, we haven't seen you in 2 years. My God.
I was just about to say, because I just had Brett Wilkin on, and I was saying that the Arnold Classic was the last show I was at in America, because normally I come out at least twice a year for the Arnold, Olympia, for MD. You know, we cover the shows together. And I said that was the last time, 2020 Arnold Classic, and that was the week everything started going chaotic. I remember landing on the plane, I had 120 messages saying that the expo's been cancelled, the Arnold's been cancelled, and I was like, what the hell is going on, you know?
Bizarro world, yeah. That was the last time, and you're right. That was, before that weekend, the world was normal, and after that weekend, nothing was ever the same again. It was a really quick transition into all that. But yeah. Yeah, let's get you back. Get you back, Tiger. Come on.
Well, the Arnold Classic's back in March, so I'm very excited about that. What are you, just before we go into what I want to talk to you about, what are you most excited for at the Arnold Classic?
Probably the rematch between Bonac and Curry. Yeah. I feel like it's going to be very similar to 2019 when they faced off. Yep. And that was an epic year for both of them, because they were both 1 and 2 at the Arnold, and they were 1 and 2 at the Olympia. Yes. And but we have, the Arnold has so many great people in it this year. I'm looking forward to the classic lineup is insane. If the Expo is back, even though we've gone on record saying we're not fans of the Expo, we're not. But I know how important the Expo is. That's the lifeblood of the Arnold Classic. That's what a lot of people go there for. It's a very big deal. It's enormous. Hundreds of thousands of people pass through there. So I'm hoping that everything in that aspect I'd like to see that, even though I don't personally enjoy the Expo. I know other people do.
Well, having said that, I mean, the Arnold Classic is what draws the people. And I probably wouldn't be as excited to go to the Arnold Classic if there was only a couple of thousand people there. You know, because Columbus is it feels like a bit of a ghost town the rest of the time, and then when you get there, it's just for those few days. I mean, on the Sunday, it's like there's tumbleweeds going through town again, you know? It is, because everyone's just kind of leaving the next day, and it empties out. And I think to get the buzz and to get the feel, and especially with someone like myself who travels a long way, I think you do need the Expo to kind of give that kind of, the kind of swell and the excitement, I think that for me is I think it's important to have that. And the thing is, it does pull in the revenue as well, for the prize money for the show to even carry on, continue and to grow. I think it's very important to have it. So I'm hopeful that it'll be there this year, and if it is, I'm glad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
Okay. Right. I want to get into now. Yeah.
Yeah. What a cover! Great cover.
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember when we were there at the 2018 Olympia when he won? Do you remember how the whole place just erupted? That was incredible, wasn't it? Wasn't it incredible?
Yeah, because that was the end of the Phil Heath reign, and it was. I never in a million years thought Phil was going to lose that show, even though he had the issues going on with his midsection. I'd been to so many Olympias where Mr. Olympia kept his title, and there would be someone like Victor Martinez in 2007, where he was the people's champion, but he didn't get the title.
Yeah.
And this time, the guy who was the people's champion, he won the whole show, and it breathed new hope into the sport. This guy with the beautiful aesthetics. He was already 44 years old at the time. To see him achieve that, it was just everybody was just happy for him. And, it was nothing against Phil, like not that like we wanted Phil to lose, but to have a new champion, it was a moment in time, and I'm glad I was there.
Yeah. Plus, I think because the classic class was starting to explode at the time, and then you had Shawn Rhoden come in, bringing almost like a classic look to the Open. He certainly wasn't a mass monster. I think that created a kind of is this how it was like exciting because something new was coming. It felt like something new, maybe a new direction was being taken in the Open class. And then we ended up with Brandon Curry's Mr.
Well,
Olympia.
we had Brandon in there next year, so we had one more year of aesthetics.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Right. Okay, then I'm going to go on because obviously for this article, this feature, top 10. Can you just switch to camera? 2 there, camera 1. Yeah. Myself and Ron did a article called Top 10 Predictions for 2022. Yep, there you go. And we was basically writing 5 each, and we didn't confer, did we?
No, not at all. I was afraid we were both going to have the same exact predictions, and it turned out we didn't. So that was good.
Yeah. So right, I'll go to the first one because I don't want to go to that yet. So. You were right about Carlos Thomas Jr., mate, being the breakout rookie pro. Well, this is before the Nationals. Look at you, he's so smug. This was before. this was before the Nationals had even happened, and you called him not to just turn pro, but to be a good breakout rookie pro this year.
Absolutely, I stand by that. I don't know what he's. The only thing I'm concerned about is he will need better condition to do what like Nick Walker did in 2021, because these pro shows are no joke. Carlos has all the tools. I mean, when I met this kid, it's almost 2 years ago, and I met him at the Arnold Classic with his dad, and he looked like a pro.
Yeah.
I said, this guy's who are you? I need, what's your next show? And he hadn't competed since 2017 at that point, and he had competed last as a middleweight. So I said, wow, well, you're not a middleweight anymore.
There's a picture of him. It doesn't even look like the same guy. That picture here in MD.
That picture's from 2017. Yeah, you could fit two of those into the current version of him.
That reminds me of the before and after Derek Lunsford posted recently when he was he jumped about 2 weight classes. But this guy, I said to Carlos, I said, has this ever been? I had him on Global Muscle last episode, and I said, has it ever been done where someone has actually been jumped 3 weight classes and been successful in both?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah. I don't know what he's going to do for coaching. He's working with Cash Guidry now, but that was he'd been working with Patrick, right?
Yeah.
Up until like a week before the show, and I don't know what he plans to do for. I think he wants to do New York Pro. I think that's going to be his pro debut. So,
wow.
Just like Nick Walker, I mean that would really cement it. Well, Nick won the New York Pro and the Arnold, so he's not going to be in the Arnold. It would still be if he could break out and win a show of that caliber right out of the gate, that would set him up as one of the top pros immediately.
You think he could win the New York Pro in his first year?
He needs a little more back.
Yeah.
He doesn't need much else, and just a little better condition. And that's condition something anybody can fix with the right guidance and finding the right formula.
Now he told. What was he at the Nationals? 220? Well, he had to be 225 to be a super, didn't he? Because I didn't realize because in the UK, well, it used to be with the UKPFF, the super heavyweights was 100 kilo and over, which is 220 and over. Right. So, but in Chris Griffin said no. He says in the supers it's 225. Correct? It's
225 and a quarter.
Is it?
All the weight classes have a quarter on them. I don't know why.
Weird.
But he came in at I think he told me he was 232 or something.
Wow.
Which is odd. I thought he was going to try to make heavyweight because he was 232 at the show that he qualified at 4 weeks prior.
Yeah.
So I thought he would drop a few pounds and come in right at 225, but he was still a super, so he still had to be over 225 and a quarter.
I'm sure he said in the interview, he said he made supers at the weigh-in, but he said by the time he got to the stage, I'm sure he said he was about 220. Now, if he was 220 by the time he got to the stage, I mean, what do you think he should do? Because I personally feel maybe try 212 at the first year, but then again, do you know what? I mean, Hadi was probably, San Marino 2017, the Olympia, he probably wasn't that far over 218, 220, and so even if he is close to 212, maybe he could still do the Open because he, if he makes those improvements.
I believe because a strong point for Carlos, probably to me the strongest point, is those really full round muscle bellies. He's so thick and full. I really worry about what would happen to his physique if he tried to get down to 212. I don't think it would be a good look for him. I'd love to see him, even if it's only a few pounds heavier than nationals, with better condition. I think that's the way to go. Open, not 212.
Yeah, so to be honest, so it's a case that no matter what his body weight is, it doesn't really matter. Just go in and do Open, even if he's 220 or whatever, and he's because
Well, I mean, look at the nationals. He went into a class he went into the supers, which is unlimited. There were a couple guys on that stage with him that were 250, 260, 270.
Yeah, good point.
He was barely a super, and like you said, by the time he was on stage, he wasn't even a super anymore. He had legitimately dropped the water and was down under that weight class. So, yeah, I don't think he needs to be much heavier. Like they said, Hadi Choopan, a 212 guy who was killing it. He's probably not much. Even now, I doubt he's more than like 225. I doubt it.
Yeah.
But you don't need to be. It's all based on how you look.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I mean, it's and I think it's good that he's jumping straight into the pro ranks as well, going straight into his first pro show. But yeah, because to be honest, I feel obviously, condition aside, I still don't think he had the pop to his physique that you maybe saw in some of the progress pictures where, like the frontal bicep, there seemed to be more pop. So maybe that he was a little bit flat and not, you know what I mean? So if he came in fuller, full and dry and peak perfectly, he's gonna really transform. I wonder if he'll be his thing is we've been so spoiled with Nick Walker, haven't we? We've been so Nick Walker was like fourth in Chicago. He won the New York Pro, he won the Arnold Classic. It's like he's just completely. He didn't wait a couple of years before he made his mark, really. So, right, okay then. The IFBB, this is another one of yours. The IFBB Pro League will begin mandatory medical evaluations for athletes. Explain.
Yeah. Now, how this is going to work, the details, obviously, I have no idea how it could, what the feasibility of it is, but I think they're going to have to show some sort of clean bill of health at least once a year to get their pro card renewed, something along those lines, where they have to get echocardiogram. The blood work, I don't know, because people can fudge that stuff. My bodybuilders, everyone's always trying to get around drug testing, things like that. So in a case, if they had to show good blood work, they would just go off all the gear for a few months, 2 or 3 months, and then do it. But I do believe that the IFBB is going to require some sort of medical evaluations for these people. I don't think they're going to provide it, but they're going to require it. I just don't see how it's possible they can do nothing. They have to take some kind of action because these people are these athletes are putting themselves at a tremendous risk, some of them. And, it's a black eye on the industry when there's a serious health problem or a death because, even though we're not claiming it's all about health and fitness and vitality, that's still the impression that people get. Bodybuilding is supposed to be a healthy sport. So when you have people in their 30s and 40s getting very, very sick and some of them dying, it's not a good look.
I think this, because originally they said, we're going to have to stop rewarding dryness and conditioning. Because it's like when they did that with the female bodybuilding, they said we wanted you to be smaller, and then they gave it to Anja Schreiner at the Miss International, the Arnold Classic. And it wasn't because then next year it went right back to, and I don't think you can start giving, so who'd you go? Look for the driest person, and then you give it to the person who's not in condition. You give them first. I don't see how that for me is a non-starter. But to be honest, when I first read your, I thought that's not workable. I thought it was more to individual responsibility from the athlete. I still don't feel like this falls on the Pro League's shoulders, mate. I really don't. But then again, you've just said that. Yeah. I think it's going to be too hard to police.
I agree. In a perfect ideal world, this is not feasible at all. In a perfect world, there would be a team of doctors at every show, and everyone would be evaluated on contest day. This is impossible. This is total fantasy what I'm talking about right now. But that's the only way that you could catch something drastic before it possibly went too far and somebody lost their life. What are you going to do? I agree with you. I think it's probably wishful thinking on my part. You have to leave it. Unfortunately, you do have to leave it to the athletes to be personally accountable for their own health and well-being. But some of them just aren't going to be. They're just not. Not everyone. Not everyone's going to put that priority on their health, especially when they have that tunnel vision. Here's my show. I'll worry about it after the show.
Do you remember with Dallas McCarver, there was a warning? Because remember when he bent over at the Arnold Australia, there was a clear indication that something wasn't right. So maybe if your idea was implemented, maybe then that could have possibly been prevented. But the thing is, like people like George Peterson, Shawn Rhoden, they weren't showing any signs of, they seem fine. I mean, I spoke to George a couple of weeks before, and it's like there's no kind of warning signs. So it's I don't know. I think the
compared to in the fighting sports like MMA and boxing, the fighters do have to be medically evaluated.
Oh wow! Okay.
Before fights, but that's a different situation because it's only a few athletes. We're talking about. Like a Tim Gardner show has 300 athletes. So you're going to have 300 physical examinations the day before a show. It's not realistic, I know. So like I said, I made that prediction with a lot of hope and probably a little fantasy, but it's probably not feasible. It's probably not workable. I think in the era now where almost everyone is coached, I think it needs to fall on maybe encouraging and promoting the good coaches that, I don't know. It's a tough one, mate. It's really tough. Yeah, but then who the coaches that get the most prestige are the ones that have the most wins. Yeah. And it's not necessarily, this guy's clients didn't do very well, but they're super healthy. People don't pay attention to that. They want to know how many wins did he get? Did you have a Mr. Olympia winner? Did you have how many Olympia winners do you have? How many people did you turn pro this year? That's what lends credibility and prestige to coaches. Yeah. Is this their track record, not necessarily whether they're looking out for the health and well-being of their clients. Yeah, I think it's not their job either. I don't want to make it sound like they should be absolved of all responsibility or accountability, but a coach's job, now they shouldn't be doing anything reckless, but it's not up to the coach. It's up to the client. If the client's feeling a certain way, like maybe I should go to the doctor, they should go to the doctor. They shouldn't wait for the coach to say, how are you feeling? Well, you better go to the doctor. These are adults we're talking about. They're not children. Yeah. I mean, when you send your progress pictures, they're not saying, how are you feeling in yourself? Are you, it's a tough one. It's a really tough one because the thing is, we've been here before, mate. We've been, I remember when Moma Benaziza died in 92 and it sent shockwaves. And then last year, you have so many happen and we don't, and no one, and you were saying, could it be because of the vaccine and all these different things? And because we're clutching at straws, we don't know what the hell's going on. It's chaos, especially when they all happen at once almost. It is it gets quite chaotic because it's almost like you can't, you know what I mean? It's too much to process and try and work out what the hell is going on. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we're ever going to figure out if it was just a rash of coincidence. Yeah. Was there a link? I don't know if we're ever going to know the answers to this. And we can't talk too much about vaccines because YouTube will pull our video off. But in my mind, I do believe there's some sort of connection between the virus, the vaccine, and all these deaths. There's some connection. I don't know what that connection is. Yeah. Oh, well, okay. Right, yeah, okay, then the next one, yours again, is Classic will continue to blow up. Yeah, well, that's easy. I get contacted by a lot of young guys looking to get into competing, or they're just getting into the sport. And the people they look up to, it's not necessarily Rami, it's not Hadi Chupan, it's Chris Bumstead, it's Terrence Ruffin, it's Ramondino, it's Urs Kalachinsky. These, especially because I think a big reason it's having this appeal is because so many of the classic pros are younger men themselves.
That's true.
And these kids, these young kids, they can really relate to someone who's closer to their age versus, when you're an 18-year-old kid, a 40-year-old, that's an old man to you. You're not going to listen to him. You're not really going to look up to him the way you would somebody who's Urs Kalasinski, 23 years old, winning pro shows, 4th place at his first Olympia. A couple of Rafael Brandao. A lot of these guys in their 20s. I'm crossing divisions here, but yeah, classic. I think classic appeals because this has been I'm beating a dead horse here, but that look of a big Rami, it's so far beyond what's capable for the average person to achieve, so far beyond that they can't even aspire to be an open bodybuilder now. They're looking at these guys and saying, there's no way I could ever look anything like that.
You know when Dorian Yates and Ronnie Coleman were Mr. Olympia, they weren't my favorite because they were the number one. They weren't actually my favorite bodybuilder because the look was so unattainable for me. I just thought, what's the point of even trying to emulate that? I'm never ever. I mean, I've seen them up close. I just thought they don't even look human. I mean, I met Ronnie Coleman he was eating an apple. It was at the Grand Prix in '96, and this was before he really supersized. And I just remember thinking, how is that? I remember literally, it was like his arms were like that, and I just thought, I can't relate to that. So I suppose the classic guys, I mean, like if Chris Bumstead walked into a room and he's got some baggy top on and you just think he was like an athletic guy or a football player, or you wouldn't think, I'm not saying it is a more attainable look than Rami. Of course it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at the body weight, just as a minor example. Terrence Ruffin, Breon Ansley, they both have to be 180 pounds to make weight for classic physique. Average kid training, he's probably like 150 to 180 pounds, a young guy starting out. So to him, these guys, they're not monsters. They're not aliens. They're human beings. Even though, to be very realistic, the genetics on these guys, you're never going to look like Ruffin or Breon anyway, because they're blessed with the shape and structure that they have. But you could probably, a lot of these kids out there could eventually get to be close to that size. They wouldn't have the shape and the aesthetics of it, but nobody out there, none of them are going to look like Rami. There's nobody out there, none of these kids, no matter what they do. And then they find out what's involved as far as the gear and the eating, and they say, geez, it would take me this much in my mind to look like a 180-pound guy and this much to look like a 300-pound guy. It's an easy choice. Kids don't want to, it's a time thing too. They don't want to wait 10 years, 15 years to build a physique.
Do you think also with the classic guys being younger, that those then appealing to the younger trainers, do you think it's because they're more social media savvy?
Oh, that definitely has to play a factor for sure. You could see with some of the older guys that they are on social media, but they're not that good at it. You can tell it's kind of it's a chore for them. Whereas these young kids, geez, you look at their Instagram, and the stories are like a million little dots on the top because they'll have like 30 stories a day. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
And they're adding music and they're on TikTok. And, I'm 52. I didn't grow up. There were no cell phones where I grew up. These kids now who are in their late teens, early 20s, they grew up with cell phone. I don't think you even call them cell phones anymore, do you? Smartphones. That's how bad I am. The technology is something that comes naturally to them. And these young classic guys, they're really good at making videos and editing. They're great at any kind of social media post.
Do you think that for the Open, that's why one of the reasons Nick Walker is so popular, because of his age? And also, like, I get the YouTube alerts, and almost every day that guy's pumping out YouTube videos. Almost every day. It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, the magazines, we still have a magazine, thank goodness. Mm-hmm. But most of these young guys, they're never going to buy a magazine or a book in their lives for any reason unless they have to for college. Everything is on that phone, everything. And if you follow Nick Walker, every few hours you get an update with new picture, new video. It's exciting. There's a lot of content. There's an endless need for content, and these younger bodybuilders and classic physique pros, they're eager to meet that challenge. They'll put out plenty of content all the time. It's not a big deal for them.
Going back to Classic, fun fact, the Classic, when it was in the UK, in the UKBFF before the split, it started in the UK in 2006.
Really? Was it called Classic Bodybuilding?
Yeah, Classic, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember the first couple Arnold Classics that you and I covered together, Arnold Amateurs, they had classic bodybuilding. And I think it was very, very similar. Weren't there weight caps for each height or no?
Yeah, I can't remember. But do you remember the guy the guy with the really shredded ass? The Italian guy. It was just like, I mean, he was, I never seen him again after that. But it was, that must have been about 2011, 2012. That was around then. Yeah. So, so it's not like it's a new category. Do you know what? For me, the classic really exploded when you and I were at the 2018 Olympia. And I just remember, like, the chatter, the expo, just generally, people were really talking about the classic. That was the one that, for me, they were talking about it more, because I think maybe they were just expecting Phil to win again, so maybe there wasn't as much excitement around the Open. Then obviously Shawn Rhoden went and won, so that obviously, shook that up a little bit. But for me, that was it was 2018. That's when I thought, okay, because it started 2016. Remember, Danny Hester was the first one.
Yeah.
And then Brion 2017, 2018, and then it went to Chris, 19, 20, 21. Yeah. But and I think obviously we know Chris, I think because he's like the Jay Cutler of the Open, really. He's that golden boy. He's got that look, isn't he? That just is just going to really appeal to everyone.
Every young kid I talk to, that's their idol is Chris Bumstead. Sure. That's who they aspire to look like. They hang on his every word. Every video he puts out, they watch. They can't get enough Chris Bumstead. And he's a likable guy. Yep. Humble, self-deprecating, makes fun of his own lisp. He sells shirts that say Favage because he can't say S properly. Yeah, I mean, that's what's not to like about the guy. He's this humble kid from Canada who's, blessed with these God-given genetics that he's taking advantage of. But yeah, it's a cool thing. I honestly, I think I like the title Classic Bodybuilding for the division better. I kind of wish they'd gone with that. Also with Chris, there's no like getting out of Ferraris that are rented for the day, And I mean, thing is, the kid probably could afford a Ferrari. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If that's what he wanted, but there's no like, with the, just in the cufflinks as they get out of a Lamborghini or something, which I hate that shit, mate. I hate that. I find it so tiresome because you can imagine as soon as the picture's taken, the guy gets in the car and is, okay, thank you, gives him the keys back and get out my car. I hate all that shit. But it just, I don't know. It just that sort of style, I suppose, does appeal. Another thing that's impressive about Bumstead is, just like Cutler, he's already setting himself up with businesses. Yeah. For life after bodybuilding, and this is we're talking about a 26-year-old man, a young guy. He's already part owner in Raw, or is it Raw and Revive? Both of them, I'm not sure, but he's already getting into that business side of it, and that's a great example for these kids because. The athletic competition part's not going to last forever. Chris has health issues. We all know that. He's got a kidney condition called Berger's disease. So he doesn't plan on competing till he's 40. He wants to be all done by the time he's 30.
Now you think about it, he's got over 5 million followers. And the fact that he's actually decided to become a partner in a company than just because can you imagine how many companies are breaking down his door almost? I bet he literally has got like offers laid out that companies that would love to just pay him and just say, look, just do social media posts, do this, do that, almost like a bare minimum. He's chosen to say, no, actually, I'm going to, whilst my name is really, really sort of, up there and hot, I'm going to put it into that instead. And, because that is a much, that for the long term, he's probably making less money now because it's more about investment and reinvestment. But that is that. I mean, at 26 to be that smart, I mean, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and he relocated to Florida where they have their headquarters for those companies down there.
Oh, wow.
So, it couldn't have been easy to leave everything he knew behind.
Yeah.
It's not that foreign of a country, Canada, but still, it's different. Toronto, I've been there. It's different than Florida for sure.
Yeah. So, right, okay, last one of yours is wellness ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. One of my regrets about this last Olympia, it's nothing I can't go back and change it now, is I missed the very end of the Wellness Olympia. I did not get to see her win.
Come on, Ron.
I blame Milos. No, it wasn't his fault. We had to do a wrap-up for, the problem with, a lot of times when the show's going on, I try to do wrap-ups of one division, but then another division is going on.
Yeah.
Because I think we were wrapping up 212 judging or classic judging, Milos and I, something like that. And wellness was going on. And when I got back in, I had heard this thunderous applause. That must have been
Francielle.
What's her name?
Francielle Matos.
Francielle. Sorry, I don't know why I keep forgetting her name. I'll remember it eventually. She had won, And then I come in, I told you she was being interviewed, but the place went electric.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's a category that seems to have a lot of excitement right out of the gate. This was 2021 was the very first year that they started having wellness pro shows. And it got a slow start because of COVID, because we didn't have the first couple ones I went to, they weren't true wellness shows because the best athletes from other countries like Brazil, Colombia, whatever, they couldn't get over. So we had some women that were just trying to transition, some American athletes trying to make the transition from figure to bikini. And, they were giving it their best effort. But Brazil has had wellness for, like 10 or 12 years already?
Yeah.
So it's very well established. They have plenty of athletes with that look, plenty of coaches. I hope America catches up just out of patriotism, but Brazil is killing it in wellness right now. Killing it.
I head judged wellness for the NPC in the UK back in 2018. I did it for 2 events, and I'll be honest that then they were kind of like figure girls at 6 weeks out. They were softer bikini girls, and I think there was one of the shows, one of the winners was the only one that probably now, if you stuck them in a wellness lineup, they'd look like they belonged. It's like anything. It's like a classic and all these different men's physique. It takes a couple of years for them to find, but like you said, Brazil already had it over a decade. So, I mean, there's women that have been training and knowing exactly how to train for wellness for many, many years. So, that's, I remember we had J.M. Mannion on the hype show we do for the Pro League, and he was saying at the Pittsburgh, I think, was the entries higher than figure? Yeah. It was higher than figure or bikini or something. It was something like in their first year, they already have more entrants at a well-established show with a new category, So it's that was the pro, wasn't it? Yeah. So it's crazy, isn't it? So, but if you'd have thought a year ago, though, I mean, my God, I knew it would be big, but I didn't know it would be quite this big.
Well, I had kind of a feeling because even bikini and figure, especially bikini, it's all about glute training. So, it's when they post all their workout videos, no offense, Lauren, it's a lot of booty training. And I mean, wellness is all about the lower body. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to really explain it to people as far as comparing it to, how would you compare it to, like, would you say it's between figure and physique, or how would you put it if you had to try to describe it?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, you're Giles.
Yeah. Sorry, I zoned out a bit there. Just thicker lower bodies. People that genetically have thicker lower bodies. I mean, it used to be. Thing is, though, if you notice, the conditioning in the wellness is actually getting quite. It's getting harder. They're getting harder. I thought it was I was pretty much told that it was like at the start. The general consensus was, look, they're just like soft figure girls with bigger legs, with bigger glutes or whatever. But now there's, I don't know. I think for the Brazilians, because they genetically, a lot of the females generally have, I mean, it's hard to explain. No, it is. They got bigger legs. They got bigger, like really. Like I remember before the wellness came along, I remember I used to speak to figure girls, and there was some that literally had to stop training their lower body for a couple of months because they just had so much muscle in the legs and they were getting marked down for it. So can you imagine now? Imagine if the wellness had been around then. I mean, I bet they would have gone, right, okay, I can train legs and kind of go for it. So
yeah, I mean, and I follow a ton of these women on Instagram, tons. Probably about a million or 2 million of them, and
all of them.
You see, it's some of the leg training, like they're squatting 315 for reps. They're leg pressing like 7-8 plates a side. These are strong women, and I think every division gets harder, leaner over time, even if it starts out with a softer look. So, but they're I'd say condition wise, they're up there with figure and physique.
Yeah,
they're maybe they're a little behind right now, but they're catching up fast. Like you said, every time we're supposedly going to have a division that's for softer look, it doesn't last.
It progresses fast
very quickly. Somebody shows up harder and they win, and everyone else goes, "Oh, okay, well, I guess I should come in harder," and they do.
And do not get me started on figure and women's physique, because I see that the lines are blurring there a lot now. I mean, the quads. Oh, I am getting started. The quads, the size of the quads now. It's funny though. If you look at the size of the quads overall in the figure class, but you look at the Olympia champion, Sydney Gillen, she's kind of holding her ground. She's not really... In fact, she was probably less muscular last year, and she still won her 5th Olympia title. And all the other girls are just getting bigger and more muscular. They look like women's physique. I mean, the quads now, I mean, my God, the quads in some of the figure actually seem almost bigger than the women's physique, which doesn't make any sense.
They are bigger. You're not seeing things. I've been to shows where I see the figure women. It depends on the order they come out in, but I see a lot of women's physique competitors with weaker leg development. I don't see anyone in figure with weak quads. They all have these big blown out quads with sweeps. Yeah. And the delts they have these big cap delts out to here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Figure and physique are very, very close. I think the only thing is the figure, a lot of them don't go for the arm size.
Yes.
It's really the only difference I can see.
Do you know, it sparked a funny memory. I remember in 2017, it was on the MD forum, and there was a picture of Natalia Coelho who just won a 4th or 5th figure show. And I remember she was posing with her legs really close together to almost hide the size of her quads. And I think she just won a pro show in the contest pictures. And I said, oh, she should go women's physique. And someone came on the forum and said, and he put a good argument forward. And he said, well, why would she? She's still winning in figure. And I was like, but no, she's too muscular. And then she went to the Olympia 2017, didn't place top 15, so didn't really get placed. Then a few weeks after, to get a qualification for the 2018 Olympia, she did a women's physique and won it. And look what she's done since now. So there's very little difference between, and this was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah. She doesn't look that different now than she did when she was doing figure.
No, she doesn't.
Bigger arms, but it's a very, very similar look. So what are you gonna do? Combine the classes?
Right, I'm going to go on to my ones now. Rise of the 20-somethings. Have you? Because remember a few years ago, it seemed like all the top 6 Olympia guys, Dexter and like Phil and Shawn Rhoden, they're like 40 or over. But it seemed like there was no real young kind of talent coming through. And then last year we got Derek Lunsford in the 212, Chris Bumstead in the classic. You got Regan Grimes, you got Rafael Brandeo, Nick Walker, Quinton Area. Martin Fitzwater, Emir Marajic, Alex Small, Theo Lageria, Vlad Suhorochko. I mean, all these athletes now, there's a surge, like a tidal wave of talent coming through now that is literally... So what's your feelings on this kind of this next generation coming through, but almost like they're like 10 years ahead of the guys that they're almost as good as now?
Yeah, it's I wonder, I'm trying to figure out what happened there. I mean, why did we have so few younger guys there for a few years? I think it was just a cycle, one of those cyclical things where you had these guys that are these 20-somethings, you just named them all. They were all still in their formative years, and there must have been a spate of 3 or 4 years where there just weren't that many of them competing.
Yeah,
they weren't at that level yet, and we had a lot of aging. Can I say that? Aging pros, guys in their 40s. That's pretty old for a pro bodybuilder. But it gives a lot of hope, I think, for the sport, because we need any sport needs fresh new blood to keep turning over, because people are going to be leaving. They're going to be aging out and retiring, and you always need that new influx. Yeah,
but you're saying like aging, but some of these guys weren't even peaking till they were past 40. I mean, Shawn Rhoden won the Olympia at 43. You know, you got Rowley, who probably what was he in 2018? He was over 40 then, and that was the best we've ever seen him at the Olympia. So there's guys that weren't even like really getting going till they were 40. And you had Dexter like 50, like almost bringing his almost best, almost right to the end. He was still bringing. He wasn't declining. You know, he was still looking fantastic. So out of all the new guys, all these 20-something, some of those names that I've mentioned, who do you think straight away? Who do you think? Answer me honestly, who's got the most potential, or out of all of those guys? Let's go with the open guys.
Nick Walker.
No. Yeah, kind of obvious, yeah. No, okay, but yeah.
Is that too easy? Too easy of an answer?
Yeah. No. I mean, 26, 27 now, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's, there's some of these other people you mentioned, like Rafael, they're very, very good too. I just think Nick has that freakish type of mass and density that just doesn't come along that often. I mean, to win the Arnold Classic on his first attempt as a 27-year-old kid, that's amazing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, open, I would go with Nick Walker for the Classic. They're all young. Oof.
No, go back to Nick Walker. Do you think he could win the Olympia this year, mate?
This year, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I don't see Ramy losing unless he comes in really off, because like his 2021 win, he didn't look as good as he did in 2020.
Yeah.
He wasn't off, but he wasn't any better.
Yeah.
Nick's going to be getting better. Hunter's going to be getting better. Ian Valliere, all these other guys, Brett Wilkin, they're all going to be getting better. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Nick, I'm not saying it couldn't happen. It could happen. You know, we've all seen, how many of these Olympia winners, like Shawn, if someone had told you 3 years before Shawn Rhoden won that he's going to be Mr. Olympia, would you have believed it?
No, it's like Brandon Curry. Imagine somebody saying at the 2016 Olympia to Brandon Curry, that guy, imagine if we were sat at the press conference and he's been asked if he's dropping down to 212 and he's literally he's scraped through on points, and then someone says, I reckon within 3 years that guy can Mr. Olympia. You'd have laughed.
I said, no way. Yeah. Never going to happen. Yeah. I mean, Nick has the potential for sure.
Yeah.
Just you never know with the Olympia. Like I said, if we had told you 20 years ago, Flex Wheeler's never going to win the Olympia, Kevin Leverone's never going to win the Olympia, I would have said, shut up. Of course they're going to win at least one. Come on, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
But here we are, 2022. They never did win one.
I mean, I was with the IFBB, the Pro Spain, the Big Man Weekend, and I was on stage doing the with Lauren for the wrap up, the live YouTube live wrap up. And when I stood next to that Amir Omaragic at 22 years old, like you watch him on stage, we're doing the live stream commentary, we're watching it, and it's like, okay, but when you actually stand next to them on stage, and I was looking at it, and I was kind of doing the video, and because he was in the background, and he came over and said hi, if you remember, halfway through the video. I was just like, this kid is 22. And I mean, he had real, not just the size of him in the kid, but the density and the maturity to the muscle. It's like, it's absolutely, Vlad Suhorochko is what, 25, 20?
He just turned 25, yeah.
He's like 290 and he's lean. It's like these kids, I mean, it's just, but like I said, a few years ago, it was like almost the kind of, the feeling was these guys weren't even hitting their peak to their 40. Right. And these guys, like in the Classic, you've got Urs Kalasinski, you've got Chris Bumstead, and these guys are so young, it's just crazy how good they are so young.
And, I don't think we're going to see these guys competing until they're 40, 50 years old, and nor should they.
Yeah.
Kind of the natural order of things for any professional sports is typically especially in bodybuilding, for many, many years, the pattern was they'd be improving into their 20s, they'd hit their peak between 30 and 35, and then they were gone. That's how it was with Lee Haney, with Dorian Yates, with Arnold, with so many people. Mm-hmm. That's sort of the natural order of things for pro bodybuilders. It was an anomaly that we saw. I guess it was encouraging for the older guys to see, oh, wow, this guy's 45. He's still killing it on the pro stages, but that's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be what we're seeing now. These young guys getting better and better and better. And they'll probably, most of them peak somewhere between 30 and 35, have a really good run, and then walk off into the sunset.
You just said there, Lee Haney, the guy was retired at 31 with 8 Olympia titles. It almost seemed like a few years ago, you weren't even turning pro till you were 30. And then you had Rich Gaspari that was like, 22, 23, top 3 at the Olympia. You had, Dorian Yates was in his 20s. So it has been done. So maybe, like you said, maybe it's just come full circle.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's how things happen in cycles, and you don't see these patterns until you can step back years later and look at it.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we're seeing right now. We're seeing that happening again.
Yeah, and you really rate Urs Kalasinski because he got 4th at Olympia, but do you reckon he can win? You were, because you said he could be an Olympia champion very soon.
Yeah, he needs more size in the upper body, more size in general, and he has room to grow. I think he has 10 or 12 pounds.
Yes.
I kind of worried that doing the Arnold Classic this year might have taken away some of the time he could have been using to improve for the Olympia.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting him to take he's qualified for the Olympia already. I was expecting him to take this whole time, and because the Olympia is...
Oh, shit, yeah.
Went from October to December, he would have had even more time, and he still does. But, yeah, he's going to be... I don't know if he's going to be an Olympia champion or not. You never know. Yeah. He certainly has all the tools for it, and he just needs to do what he's been doing, just gradually growing. Yeah. 10 pounds on. Can you imagine 10 more pounds on a fuller look to him with all that shape and those really clean lines and cuts and striations.
Well, him and Ramondino, because I saw Ramondino at the NPC European in Spain in August, and he got second there, second to Fabian Mayer. Middleman, Jose Mete, I can't say his name. Mete, whatever. Middleman. He was third. He didn't really jump up at me as someone that was like, okay, this guy's going to be a factor at the Olympia, because he got second, so he barely qualified. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he qualified, but him and Urs really took a step up from that August to the October. They really stepped it up, and fourth and fifth, or fourth and sixth, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, fifth. Fourth. Urs was fourth, and Ramondino was fifth.
There you go. Two guys that were top five. I mean, even when he won the was it Tampa that Urs won? Was it Tampa? Yeah. I wouldn't have thought, okay, this guy's really going to be standing next to Chris Bumstead in a couple of months and looking really... So it shows you how much these guys can improve. So if he has got 10, 12 pound to still gain before he reaches the limit, I don't think he even needs to put on the 10, 12 pound. I mean, he could be a factor with another 3 or 4 pound,
Yeah, right. Yeah, we always want people to be at the limit of the weight class, because we think that's where they're going to look their best. So ultimately, he will be. I don't know if it's going to be this year or the next year, but 23 years old, my goodness. Yeah. he's a baby miracle bear.
Yeah. And if you're talking about things like weight limits, I mean, I think Shawn Clarida blows it out of the water, really. Anything to do. I mean, there's a guy that is, he's won 212 Olympia. I'm going to come on to this now. He's the guy's winning open shows now, and he's actually coming in lighter than he was at the Olympia, 174 pounds, beating guys 80 pounds, 100 pounds heavier. So it's like, really, I think, had he coming in probably lighter this year and looking better than he did the year before, so it's not like they have to, like you said, going back to like Carlos, these guys don't have to keep bringing it down. They just have to bring their best look, whatever their body weight.
Yeah. I think some people still get caught up in the whole body weight, where more is better, where if somebody's 300 pounds, they're better than someone who's 280, which, or it's ridiculous, but that's still going to be the mentality for some people. But in the end, it's a visual sport. It doesn't matter what you weigh. It doesn't matter what the measurements are. What do you look like?
Yes.
How well is that physique flow? How is it balanced, proportion? And you and I are both big shape fans, big aesthetic fans. So that's another thing you've been talking about, is the return of aesthetics to the open shows. We're seeing some more aesthetically pleasing physiques doing better and better in the open shows.
Did you see, I mean, if you look at take the Prague show as the example, EVLS Prague show, you had Samson Dauda, Regan Grimes, and Rafael Brandao as the top 3. Now, there's 3 guys that, they're bringing classic to the open.
Oh, 100%. And that's good. There's not just one great type of physique.
Yeah.
You can have fans that want the mass monsters. You can have fans that appreciate more aesthetic physiques. There's room for everybody. There's room for all kinds of great physiques.
Well, it's like comparing Shawn Rhoden to Big Ramy, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Shawn Rhoden, the way he looked when he won in 2018, I believe he would have beat the last 2 Ramys that we've seen.
Do you?
Yeah. 100%.
Wow.
Shawn, the way he looked when he won the Olympia, Shawn Rhoden, 100%. Yeah. Condition, lines, shape, everything.
Wow.
He was beating Ramy back then.
True.
It's a moot point. We're never going to see it, unfortunately, but yeah.
So, final topic, the 212s dominating the open. Obviously, we've talked about, just said Shawn Clarida. I mean, I thought he was crazy trying to do that. I thought when I heard he was doing the Legion, I was like, oh God, he's just pissed off. He's pissed. What's that? Oh, the Legion Sport Nice.
I got my Legion shirt on.
Yeah, big shout out to Chris Mins and Biana there. Yeah. I thought, okay, this guy, is he gone a bit crazy because he's lost the Olympia and he just needs to reassert himself and get a good placing, and then he won it. And it's like, when you actually see him next to the Sergios and the Regan Grimes, it's like, did it change your perception of how the 212 was perceived? Seeing that result.
I think it gave them more credibility, because the 212 division, because I'm very good friends with Jose Raymond, and I've seen the division fight and scratch its way for acceptance, for money, for recognition, for everything. I mean, they weren't even on the main stage of Olympia for a long time. They were off. Everything was in the expo, even their finals.
True.
It took them a long time to get where they are now. And you still have people that disparage them, say, oh, I hate when they go after the height, say, oh, their guys are midgets. It's a bad word. I don't like that word, because I'm only 5'7.5". But I think for Shawn doing that, it gave the division a boost. It shows people, you know what? these guys they're great bodybuilders regardless of who you put them next to. But I also think it's confusing people now because Hadi Choopan, a lot of people want Hadi Choopan to win the Olympia. They don't understand why can't he win. And then you come back to, well, Rami's a lot taller, he's a lot wider. Well, Regan Grimes and Sergio Oliva are both much taller and wider than Shawn Clarida, but Shawn was more complete. He was in better condition. So will this ever carry over into the bigger shows? I don't know. Like if Shawn Clarida did the Open Olympia, what would happen?
But do you think this is a good thing or a bad thing for the 212 class itself? With the guys jumping over and doing well in open shows, do you think... Because, I mean, at the end of the day, the 212 was taken away from the Arnold Classic, you know, and it's still not getting the prize money and maybe the recognition or, you know, that's maybe in proportion to the Open. So do you think this is... do you think it's a good thing for the 212 class overall with these guys now doing this?
You could look at it a couple different ways. You could say, well, it's sort of taken away from the division because now... You're saying, well, 212 is not good enough for even the top 212 guys. They have to go off and do open shows to get more recognition, more money. But it also lends a little more credibility saying you can't say that they're not as good as the Open because here they are. The best 212 guys can go into open shows and still beat pretty much anybody. You know, we need to see some of these guys like a Lunsford or a Clarida in the Open Olympia, in the Arnold Classic to really see where they stand. But I think someone like a Lunsford would do spectacularly well in the Open Olympia. I think he's immediately a top 5 guy. You know, Flex Lewis, when he gets back to Olympia, he won't be 212, but he'll do very well from the start. I have no doubt in my mind.
Do you think they should go back to doing what they did at the very start and let them do both?
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why that's not. Why can't they? You know, what's Dan say about that? I can't even remember if he's commented on that or not.
I don't know, but just say, I mean, just the thing is though, if Derek Lunsford say goes or Shawn Clarida or whatever goes and wins the 212 Olympia, and then the next day they're going and placing 5th or 8th or 9th in the Open, it's like when you see guys at the amateur shows when they've won their weight category and then they go into the overall and they don't win the overall. It's like, you know, it's like, or they they turn pro and then they go into the pro and get like 17th or something. It's like sometimes you got to think, is it better to be a big fish in a little pond or a little fish in a big pond, or just find your category and go for it?
I mean, I totally see the logic of not letting them cross over because even though 212 and Open, they're both bodybuilding, they are distinct divisions.
Yeah.
We just talked about figure and physique. I guarantee you there are women who are doing very well in women's figure who could go right into the same weekend, women's physique, and do just as well, maybe better, and vice versa. Some of these physique women could do figure. It's the physiques aren't that different, but you need to have distinct divisions, and these are the athletes that are competing in the physique Olympia. These are the ones doing classic. These are the ones doing 212. So I get it. I don't think it's a smart idea to let them cross over for that reason. It does water down the categories a little bit.
Yeah, and I have seen it in the last, what was it, the amateur, where a lot of ladies were giving them free entry or something to do another category. I think they were trying to experiment with it to try. I forget the reason now. What was the reason? I forget the reason now. But you know, and then they're going and getting first in one category, and then going to another category and getting second or third or another first, and. You know, so, because I was there when Angel Calderon won the 212 in Spain. I mean, that was like, holy shit, is this the start of something? Thing is, imagine if we'd have seen, I don't know, but this is, like you said, it's a moot point again. Imagine if seen Flex Lewis 4 weeks out for the Olympia in a pro show in the Open at 225. Like, we would have then, up to this point, got to see the very best version of Flex Lewis as an Open on stage, you know, because we never really got to see the best version of him as an athlete, as a physique, because he always had to suck it down, you know. So, I mean, that thing is, I can't imagine how. I mean, it certainly wouldn't affect Shawn Clarida because he's like 170 on stage, 175 anyway.
Right.
But I mean, I think is, I don't know, like someone like Derek Lunsford, could he have looked better at 220 or 225? Would he have not looked as good?
I think he'd look better.
Mate, at the Olympia, he looked incredible.
I think Hani's amazing at what he does.
Yeah.
And he was able to bring him in at 212 looking far better than either of us could have anticipated. We were both very concerned. I know, especially after that infamous guest posing video where he was.
Yeah.
What did he say? He actually weighed there like about 240 something. But
it was
230. It was like 235.
But he had lines in his glutes.
Right. So we thought, oh no, what's he going to look like at 212? He's going to look so emaciated and he's going to lose all that pop. I still think he would look better. Yeah. I'd love to see Derek at 220, 225. I'm sure Hani could bring him in same condition, but with more fullness, more pop, more 3D.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you could see any other 212 do what Shawn or Angel did, who would you like to see try their hand?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think of some of the top 212 guys.
I would like to see Lunsford. I would love to, even if he goes and does the Olympia again next year and wins the 212 again, I'd still like to see him just turn up like I'd love to see him do post Olympia. It's going to be because Olympia's in December. I'd love to see him just pop up at a show or something and just, because
I think Derek could do any show other than the Olympia and Arnold and win it as an open.
I agree.
At about 220. Who would beat him?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
He's very complete physique. He's got a great physique on him.
Yeah.
And I think Arnold or Olympia open, I still think he's top 5 right away.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Right, okay then, mate. I think we've gone through all our lovely topics, and it's obviously in the latest issue of MD, which is January, because we're January now, aren't we?
Yeah. So, I just want to say what a great cover.
Yeah.
Great tribute. There's a great tribute in there to Shawn, and we will all miss him. And 2021's behind us. Let's hope for a better 2022 for everybody.
Yeah, I really liked your Shawn Rhoden feature as well, mate. It's really good.
Thank you.
Really good. So
yeah. All right. Well, thanks for having me on, Giles. Appreciate it.
That's right, Ron. I'm sure I'll be on your run line again very soon, doing previews and hopefully, fingers crossed, and get out to the Arnold Classic to join you this year, mate. Because it's I've just been held back for 2 years now, and I just we got to do a couple of shows. Doing live stream and stuff like that, which was great. But I really want to get back out to America and see you guys and, just do what we do well.
We need you. We need you here, Giles. Let's go. Come on.
All right, then, Ron, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. And for episode 125.
Wow.
So,
congratulations.
I know. Crazy, isn't it?
Because these are not, Global Muscle's not a half-hour show, guys.
Yes.
These are 2 to 3 hour shows. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of content.
I spend a full day on just the pre-edits. The things I drop in, because you have to find them and edit them. And, I spend a full day on them. Full day.
If you added up all the hours, it's like I don't even want to try. Probably 1,000 hours of content. My goodness.
Yeah. How many hundreds of athletes? Anyway, right. Okay, then, Ron, thank you so much for coming on, mate. Happy New Year. And, enjoy our conversations always, mate. And, And here's to a great 2022, mate.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, Ron. Cheers, mate. And welcome back to MD Global Muscle here at the Unrise Media Studio with me, your host, Giles Thomas. I'm joined all the way from the mountains of Denver, Colorado, Brett Wilkin.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Happy New Year. 2022, we are here. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be a big year for hopefully everybody. So clean slate here, and first podcast of the year. I bring in the energy this morning, and let's get after it.
Mate, you're the first one of the year, the first one of 2022.
That's right. That's number one. I gotta hold up to it then, huh?
Brett, we had you on. We said on this Skype there, it was 6 months ago. You'd had a sensational pro debut at the Chicago Pro. It just what you brought was just unbelievable. Everyone was kind of shocked at how great you looked, how much muscle you put on, moving up from the 212. I was very, very, very happy to see your name on the list for the Arnold Classic. So how do you feel about that?
You know what? It was first off, it really wasn't. Initially wasn't the plan. So it was more so we were going to do New York Pro. That was kind of the once I got out of Chicago, that was kind of the vision I had with my coach Matt Jansen. Mm-hmm. And then about 2 months ago, it was Matt. He reached out to me and he was just like, with the Arnold getting moved back to March, it's going to provide a lot of good opportunities, especially with them really blowing it up this year. And hopefully bring it back to what it used to be pre-COVID, and going to be a really good lineup. And he thought he's like we can do damage here, and I think this is your next step. So I trust everything Matt says, and if he's always believed in me, and it's worked out so far. So, I talked to 3 people. I talked to Ivana, of course, my wife, and I was like, hey, like let's think about moving up to the Arnold. I think it's gonna be a great opportunity for me. So as she was supportive, I talked to Dylan Armbrust, who's the gym owner that I go to, and he helps me a lot, with posing and prep and everything. And he was full support. And then lastly, I talked to Phil Heath. I just value his opinion. He's been a good friend in regards to business decisions, making moves, things like that. And once he said that he thought it'd be a good idea, like that solidified it for me. So I threw the name in there and just sped up the process of getting ready for hey, prep's coming sooner now. And you know what, I love prepping. I actually enjoy the prep process. I can't I did enough. My story of the 2-year off season. So I've done that, and then I do it again. I would do it again if it's beneficial. But it's now I'm at a point where I want to get back up on stage. I want to keep proving myself, and I think that's the next step for me.
I mean, your first show was a Chicago Pro, so this is literally your second pro show as an open, and you've got the invite to the Arnold, because it's not actually that easy to get the invite to the Arnold Classic. So that's a huge deal. So the fact that you've accepted it, and you've applied for it and obviously accepted it, I mean, you it's the second biggest pro bodybuilding show in the world. Yeah.
Like I said, I remember, I went to, with Ivana, my wife, she competed in a few Arnolds in the past. So in 2018, she did the Arnold on, obviously, Ohio, and then we went out to Arnold, Australia. So that was one of the best trips I've ever had, is when we flew out to Australia, all the competitors together on one plane. It was almost like Team USA versus the world, because you're going into, foreign land. Yeah. So you made a lot of good friends. It was just cool, it was a really cool week and atmosphere, and just the camaraderie between the athletes, and it was more like a trip. And then we actually stayed there an extra week and enjoyed Sydney that year too. So it was like, after that, experience with Arnold and how they took care of us, the athletes and, their plus ones and stuff. I really was like, that was kind of my big goal of mine, was like, I'd really like the opportunity to compete at one of the Arnolds. Yeah. And then, now we got to that point where I got good enough that I can. So I'm fortunate that, they selected me. I think I'm going to make sure that's a really good decision that they did. And I'm excited, to be on that stage here in like 8.5 weeks, man.
I mean, I think the 2 names obviously I'm very excited about seeing Brandon and Bonac going up against each other again, because I was there in 2019. It was incredible. But the 2 names I was really, really happy to see was yours and Samson Dowda's, because we love seeing new faces at the Arnold. And the thing is with the Arnold Classic is you can beat big names, rub out bigger names, which you've maybe not gone up against at smaller shows. But if you go up against each other, up against someone at the Arnold Classic, and you beat them, that really establishes where you are in the pecking order.
Yeah, it's it's a top show. It's with Olympia being number 1 just because of how it's set up. Arnold's that close second, and then being so much prestigious with the invite only as well. It's gonna be, there's a lot of guys that are looking to take that next step. A lot of guys that are like right there on the edge. Like you said, Samson, he had a great season. What a great guy he is. So it's going to be fun again to compete against him. But for me, it's just, I'm looking at this as an opportunity, not only, obviously to compete, but like to see where I'm at. I want to see I had a great first show there, but now it's really, I got to see if I'm, that top tier Olympia material yet, or if we need to put more work in, or where we stand right now. And so this is going to provide that opportunity, because if you do you do extremely well at the Arnold, that sets you up for many things ahead. Mm-hmm. And then I believe I am in that. I'm setting myself up for this to happen.
Good. What's training and everything been like since the Chicago? Because I imagine the Chicago, you were on such a high, because your name just exploded, and it was like overnight everyone knew who you were. Now it's like, shit, this guy's a serious contender. He's a serious pro, open pro. So what's it been like since? What's it been like?
It was really, it was a really cool end of 2021, especially with that coming out party, as you would say, just people seeing where I'm at, how I can rank up against the top guys, and a lot of it's just. That's the fun of it, just do I decided just to do that one show and then improving to come in this year, and that led into like a lot of comparisons, where he is at, where he'd be if he would have competed, things like that. So that's been a lot of fun to kind of see, and it just keeps it interesting. But the main thing, even with all these podcasts, these increase in social media, things like that. The main thing, like, I got to keep reminding myself, and I'm very, very good at, is like, it all comes down to like this right here, where I'm at right now. I'm in my office at the gym. Like, it comes down to the work, because I would have never been in this position if I haven't been putting in the work, over these years. And so it's not like I can't get complacent with like, being talked about or being predicted. It's like, now more than ever, I need to, step on the throat. I need to go full power, full acceleration here, and, really take that next step, because, I just turned 33. So about last week. So it was my birthday last week. And, I'm getting into my prime, I would say, in the bodybuilding. I started late. So, now is the time I really need to capitalize. And I know that. So, every day I'm waking up itching, man. And it's a really cool feeling. Yeah. It's a really cool feeling, this prep. I'm excited to, like, get into the gym every day. I'm excited to get up and do cardio. And, like, not everybody can say that, So I'm in a really, really good, headspace. And then physically, I'm the best I've ever been. So it's just cool to keep seeing the changes happen. And then, I'm really excited to show you guys the next version here coming up.
I think what Martin achieved after Chicago, I think that also put a spotlight on you as well, because to see the energy that you two have, that obviously the motivation you give to each other. I mean, are you proud of him, what he's achieved, and and how everything's gone since?
Yeah, absolutely. With Martin, he was a product of the environment as well. We fed off of each other last prep. I don't know if you knew this, but he actually moved to Texas, so he doesn't live here anymore.
Oh, really?
So so I haven't trained it. He's been gone for about 3 months.
Okay.
2 months now.
Okay.
He's got some good opportunities down there with Gasp and everything, and so he, but that doesn't change anything in regards to what I do with my training.
Yeah.
But that was actually obviously a help having a fellow up and coming bodybuilder to feed off of, and energy wise too. But like I said, I have a lot of help around here. I have a lot of great people surrounding me, good training partners, the wife, so I'm in a great spot, man. That's all, I continue, I count my blessings. I continue to try to make sure I'm always, thanking these people that are always so willing and stuff. So we get caught up in this is such an individual sport. I think I made a post about this the other day. It's like, it is an individual sport, and it will just be me up there, taking, performing, taking the reward, whatever that may be. But there's so much that goes in behind the scenes, man. And like, that's what I'm really learning as we continue to advance in this, just the great atmosphere, the great team you set up around you to eliminate distractions is so huge. And I think that's what I've been really, really good at is, pushing the distractions away to the side, or not, to handle them rightly, and just having the positive environment around me, having a great coach, having a great, family setting, and then great people around you. And so I'm very thankful for that.
Everyone says that from the Armbrust gym. It seems to be, is it to do with the location, or is it to do with the people, or everything?
I would say, definitely would say the people and the management here, the owner. So like Dylan, there's another owner named Andrea. They just create such a good, positive environment. So, not only for just competitors, but just like anybody that wants to come in, it's like, hey, if you're coming in here, everybody in here wants to, they're coming in here to get better. And then they feed off of each other. I'm going to come here, I'm going to train next to, we probably have 20, 25 IFBB pros in here training, throughout the week. So it's like people come in here and like, you're not going to slack when you're surrounded by, that much talent. So it just creates a great atmosphere out here. And, just the resources, because, I know not all gyms, not all states, states for United States have these bodybuilding oriented gyms. So I'm, very thankful, and I'm glad that there's so many people out here that come together to, continue to flourish with this environment.
Good. So aside from the Arnold Classic, have you thought of doing any other shows? Because there's Indy around that time. What else is around that time? Have you thought yet?
I haven't. You know me. I'm only focused on one show at a time.
Yeah.
I didn't even really know the schedule. I saw the other day that Jay Cutler, he tagged me in the Boston Pro Show or something.
Yes.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait,
what's
this? I was like, what's this? I didn't even know what. He's like, you better be there. And I'm like, when is it? He's like, a week after the Arnold. I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know that. So, yeah. Well, we'll see. Like, I'm not gonna make any promises, because like, my goal, in whatever you may think or not, my goal is that I want to win. So I want to win the Arnold. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, obviously I'm not going to be doing anything after that until the Olympia. So in my head, every day I'm waking up, I'm training, I'm working to win. Mm-hmm. And then, so be it what happens, God willing, I'll decide after that show what we need to do. But I'm also pretty focused on making the Olympia this year and making that, and making sure I get there, because I think I can be, start my process of continuing to move that up the ranks on that as well.
Now, you're known for drastic improvements. You went from the 212 to 30 pounds heavier to Chicago when you're like 230, 240, something like that. How has your physique progressed since the Chicago?
So yeah, it was a really good off season. Went up to some heaviest I've been in the off season, and more so I was a little bit more focused on staying comfortable. You know what I mean? So like not getting too heavy that things with the breathing, with the training starts taking effect. So it was more so I wanted to say so that my training was still on point all the way through the off season, and we were able to do that really well and maintain a pretty good high body weight. I think the highest I got was like 280 waking up. So that was, good to see that number, because it shows me that, I've put on some new muscle tissue. Yeah. So with that said, now that we're coming down, dropping the body fat, dropping the inflammation. I think I was 264 this morning.
Wow. Holy shit.
260. Yeah,
7 weeks out. 7 weeks out.
Yeah, I think, we got more than that. I think it was 9 weeks yesterday. So it's like 8.5 weeks or whatever.
Okay.
But, in what I'm, at this weight, what I'm seeing is a really good sign. So, like with where the lines are, we know where the condition is at this weight. I know Matt's very happy, and I am too. So it's going to be more so. If I had to make a guess, last time, like you said, I was on stage in Chicago, I was 242 that day. I would say I'm going to be right around 250, and that was, and that was the goal with this year. That was the goal, was to add another 68 pounds, because I think that's what I was missing the most. And I think that's what, Hunter got me on, because he was about, and I'm not comparing body weights or whatever, but he was about 10 pounds heavier than me, and it kind of showed in some areas, So that was kind of the goal, is just to continue to bring up everything. I'm huge on being symmetrical. I did obviously focus on a few areas, but I think, it's going to be just another, 8 to 10 pound heavier version, just as sharp, that's coming to the Arnold.
I think if you said to me, I'm planning on being 250, I think if it was any more than what you say, to be honest, I'd probably have alarm bells ringing. I'd be thinking, that's because your calling card, your physique is your lines, your symmetry, it's a really well put together physique. And I think if you were blowing up too much too fast, I think I'd be like, okay, but that's a really good sign. I think 7-8 pounds will just look amazing on your frame, mate. Yeah,
I think, and I agree. I wasn't shooting for. That's what I mean. Like in the off season, I wasn't trying to blast and try to get to that 300 or whatever. And it was more keep that quality, keep what placed me well there. I mean, I wasn't the biggest guy on stage there by far, but it came down to my strong points. So continue to focus on the conditioning, but just a little bit bigger, a little bit better, and all throughout,
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, mate, last year that Chicago, there was such a buzz. I remember at the time when we came second, and it was such a buzz around you for so many weeks afterwards. It was so great, because I think we love to see new faces, and we love to see them doing well straight away. So, and I was like, and when you said you weren't doing any more shows, that was like, okay, I kind of wanted them to do more, but I understand why, because you're someone that does like to, like you said, you like to think of one show at a time. You like to make improvements, and I mean, you're 33. You said 33, mate. I mean, that's still so young, mate. Come on. You're a baby. Come on.
Yeah. Like I said, but I look at it that way, but I started when I was like 28. So it's like,
oh, wow. Of course. Yeah. Shit.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
It's been about 5 years. So like, I am, trying to get the most as I can with, still being smart. But no, we definitely have some good years ahead of us. But like, I want to really start getting into that, establishing myself right now in these next 1.5 to 2 years,
Yeah. I like your t-shirt, mate. Love it.
Yeah, just got this in.
Do you want to show it?
Sergio for putting those together.
Sorry, do you want to show it just quickly?
Yeah,
Shawn Rhoden.
Shawn Rhoden shirt. I think maybe you can still get those from Sergio at Victory Clothing, but all those proceeds went to Shawn's family, so I appreciate Sergio putting those together for him. And tough times for the year, but it's a way to remember a good man, and I'll continue to do that. Yeah, I just I did a end of year review with Ron Harris, and that seemed to be the one that I couldn't kind of get my head around. That whole. It seemed like a very surreal few weeks, in the industry, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a tough one, man. Last year was in general, because I was really close to John Meadows. Obviously much closer to John than like, Shawn or anything. But, with John's passing, that one really hurt. And, still something I feed off of and use. It's going to be cool to actually be at Arnold. I know, more than anything, I know John would wish he would see me there. Yeah. Because he was so excited after Chicago and stuff. So I'm planning on going and seeing, his family down in Columbus when we're there. They don't live too far from the venue and stuff. So I'm going to go see his two boys and stuff. So I'll be looking forward to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a tough time, mate. Tough time. So Brett, also, how's it going with Gasp, mate?
What's that?
How's it going with Gasp?
Gasp is awesome, man. They always something new with them, So they're a great company to be with. Michael does such a great job over there. I'm very fortunate. I've finally found a really good groove with sponsors. Especially with Hostile. I'm with Hostile Supplements and Fuad.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's been a great one. That actually happened the weekend of Chicago. After he predicted me, to get 9th in Chicago, and then I got 2nd. he decided to bring me on. So, but no, that's been great, man. It's been
brilliant.
That's a really good company. We're growing and very, very, personal. Very, they do a great job of having it organized and all the athletes on board, and that's been great. Obviously, Gasp continues to grow and explode. With Better Bodies down there in Dallas. Just some great opportunities arose from that Chicago, and that's kind of how I set it up, man. We probably talked about this last podcast, but going into Chicago, I don't think I didn't have a supplement sponsor. I didn't have, I wasn't focused on that stuff. I was just focused on doing what I did. Having a coming out party. I'm going to work for this. I'm going to make my name for myself, and then I'll focus on the things that go into it in the background. The sponsorships, the representing, and stuff like that. And it all worked out. And I can only say thank you to everybody around me, and now we're going to keep blowing it up, man. It's going to be fun.
I love to see when guys, like you said, go into shows without sponsors. They do really well. They prove themselves, and then literally overnight, their kind of life changes, and they can actually become. They can almost. I remember when Luke Sandow said when he got 3rd at the Arnold, he says, now, Giles, he says, I woke up this morning, he says, and I'm literally able to be a full-time professional bodybuilder and not have to rely on other incomes. And, I feel like I'm fully supported now, So when I hear stuff like that, I love to hear that, mate.
That's exactly what happened to me too. I was even, in that prep and stuff, I was still working, 6-7 hours a day with clients and stuff, plus online stuff, and so I've been able to back off on that. I still like staying really busy. That's one of my faults, but it kind of keeps me who I am, especially always busy, especially in prep throughout the day. I'm always either working or doing something, but I have that leeway, that freedom now that, I can be a full-time bodybuilder and it feels good. And, especially with Ivana now, she can focus on other things as well. So it's been really good. And, still have to get the work done like we talked about earlier, and now I can just apply more to that work,
Yeah. So is Ivana competing this year?
She hasn't set her date on anything yet. She's obviously she's prepping a little bit. I mean, not prepping, but dieting with me a little bit just to, keep the house clean and not cause distractions.
Yeah.
And get herself ready for looking good at the Arnold and stuff. But yeah, I'm sure she'll do something, after late spring or summer. But with our focus just being the Arnold and me right now, that's where we're at right now.
Cool. Well, mate, your second Open Pro show, it's the Arnold Classic, so I'm really excited for that one, mate, because I think I'm going to be there. I'm probably going to be there. So
you'll make it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because the thing is, the last pro show I went to in America was the Arnold Classic in 2020, and that was the week everything was just chaos. It was just everything was shutting down, and literally as soon as I got back, I mean, that was when pretty much the whole world shut down. So I really can't wait to get back out there, mate. I really can't wait because it's. Have
you not been to the United States since?
No, with all travel restrictions, and I'd have to go to 2 weeks in Dubai. I couldn't be away from home for like a month, So, but that changed in November, so it looks like I'll be able to get out there. So I can't wait. Oh, the Classic, mate. So be cool. I want to see you on stage because I've never seen you in the flesh on stage. Yeah,
it'll be good to see you, and I think they're gonna do a really good job. They're really just blowing this Arnold up. I know they're trying to do some promotional videos now to get it ready and everything. And I think it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be huge, and I know I have quite a few support coming, family, friends. Gonna bring a crowd, so hopefully that all keeps up and it's all all goes smooth with everybody's traveling and just have a good weekend out of it.
And you're getting that first call out, and then they move you right next to Brett swap with, and you're right in the middle next to Brandon or Bonac. That'd be so cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what you envision, man. That's what you're playing for and you envision. And so I just want to, make sure I'm doing what I can to have that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And then when that happens, take advantage of it as well. Yeah,
I think you're going to do really well, mate. I really do. I think you're going to shock a lot of people, mate. I really do.
That's the goal. I'm trying to keep things a little, I'm so excited. I want to share things a lot, but right now it's more about, I still want to bring a little bit of a surprise. So we'll make sure it'll be a shock still.
Yeah, he certainly did that in Chicago last year, mate. I mean, it was just like, holy shit. Do you know what I mean? I think I was one of the only people that was actually saying like, oh, look at this guy. I think it was one of the progress pictures you posted, and I was just like, okay, this guy's on my radar now.
You did, yeah. I will give you props for that. You were one of the few.
Not ninth place.
No, wow. You might have said like three or four, but you believe. So that's no, I appreciate that. And cool. Now I just got to back that up.
Cool. All right then, mate. Well, all the best for the prep for the next few weeks, mate, and keep working hard. And I think we'll be very excited to see you on stage at Columbus, mate. Really, really, really well. Absolutely. So
I'll look forward to see you there. For all you people that are thinking about it, I advise that you jump on it, man. Yep. This is gonna be a special weekend, and hopefully see many of you March 4th, March 5th in Columbus, Ohio.
Also, March the 4th is when the Batman comes out, the new Batman film. So
I saw that. I was like, how am I gonna swing this?
Brett. Batman, or should I go to the Arnold?
Yeah, I know, right?
Might have to sneak out. Right, okay then, mate. Sorry, right.
We'll just all go together on Sunday night. Okay. Yeah, okay. You just gotta hold off.
Stay off social media. No spoilers.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. All right then, Brett. Thank you so much for coming on MD Glove Muscle. First one of 2022, mate. And like I said, all the best for the next few weeks.
All right, thanks, Giles. It's good talking to me. I'll see you soon. Okay.
Thank you, Brett. Cheers, mate. Okay, guys, it is time for hot news for episode 125 of MD Glove Muscle. That is 1/8 of 1,000 episodes, Lauren.
Very cool.
You paused there. Yes, 125 episodes. Oh my God. 3 years we've been going now. We started in November or December. Yeah, I think it was November 2018. And we're now January 2nd, 2022. So we're still going strong, I think. But a lot's happened behind the scenes and obviously over the years. But thank you guys. We really appreciate all the support, all the watching, all the likes, all the views. We really do appreciate it. And, we love this industry. Oh, I've got to stop touching the mic. Stop it. So, really appreciate everything. And like I said, we'll keep going for as long as you want us to and keep bringing you all the news and all the interviews, all the latest and all the legends and all the, and hearing everyone's stories. So anyway, I'm going to go straight into it. I've been chatting to Dorian Yates. Do you know my first ever kind of proper job in the industry was with Dorian Yates in 1999? Well, in the supplement industry, because he was part owner of Metrex, of the UK distributor. And my first job was, I moved from Wales to London, dropped my cat off at the ex's mum's and floored it down to London. And I didn't even tell my family. They were trying to track me down. They couldn't find me because I just literally just got in the car and just moved to London, and I ended up working for Dorian Yates. And it was really cool because he used to come over every month he used to come over. And and because I used to work on the distribution and the newspaper, the bodybuilding newspaper they had, and it was really cool. It was really it was good experiences. And he always, do you know what his favorite one was? Favorite drink? Peach Metrex. So did I tell you the story about the bruises on my triceps? No. That's a funny story. Well, should I tell this one?
Yes.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, that's on it. It's 2022, year of honesty. So I went up and I was on a bit of gear at the time, and I gave Dorian his Metrex, and I had a tight t-shirt on, and he kind of sits in the chair and he looks at my arm, and then he gets up at the chair, looks at the other arm, and he says, Giles, he says, why have you got bruises on your triceps? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about, Dorian. I said, it's just, I said, it's nothing. And he said, And basically it was I was putting gear into my triceps. So that was I'm sure I could have told the story a bit better. But anyway, we're going to get into the hot news. And like I said, I have been speaking to Dorian Yates, 6-time Mr. Olympia, 92 to 97. Do you know that I think one of the best experiences I've ever had was when I went to the British Grand Prix the day after Dorian Yates won his first Mr. Olympia. And a lot of us didn't even know that he'd won the Olympia because this was before the internet in 92. And I remember when he came out and when he they said, and now the new Mr. Olympia at the British Grand Prix in Nottingham. They left him to the last. He came through this archway, all this dry ice, and it was very, very cool. And the place just went absolutely bananas. So, I spoke to Dorian and I said, Dorian, anything you want me to promote, mate? Let me know. And he said, yeah, I've got a new podcast. So here we go. Yeah, so he's got a new podcast and he says, give us a promote. And I said, of course I will, Dorian. Of course I will. So, so he's got his own. That's a good picture, isn't it? It's a nice picture. He's cool, Dorian. He's very, very cool.
Very rugged.
Dorian Yates raised the vibration because he's very, very spiritual now. Very spiritual. And really felt a good connection with Dorian when I went to see him at a gym in London a couple of years ago. And I felt like a real change in him. He seemed really, really at peace with himself and very much happier than maybe I'd felt in the past. But anyway, so Dorian Yates, my first podcast episode is now live on my YouTube channel, Dorian Yates. Myself and Russ Scala delve into the causes of death among competitive bodybuilders and the steps that could be taken to possibly reduce the risk. So go check that out. Thanks Dorian. Your knowledge really works. Been applying it, made a big difference. Okay, I want to talk about the podcast. Come on. I've always wanted a Yates podcast. Because Dorian Yates was on Joe Rogan. And that Dorian Yates was already an international superstar, but he was then presented in that podcast to an audience that was probably people that had never had any interest in bodybuilding. And it's really good. It's about 3 hours long. There's one bit where it goes a bit out there with the ayahuasca thing and all that and the kind of the DMT and all these like psychedelics and stuff. But it's interesting. I've found out a lot more about it since. So I'm a little bit better educated on it. So what else was there? Dorian Yates. Oh yeah, Dorian Yates' old training partner died. Yeah, Kenny Brown. I never met the guy, gentleman, but I remember seeing all these pictures in the early days of Dorian Yates. And I remember when, here he is. I remember seeing all these pictures. I wonder if these are Kevin Horton shots or just basic. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't really know much about this guy. I remember I think he was a good light heavyweight in the UK, but he was because Dorian had a very, very small team. He used to train with my friend Paul Baxendale, obviously Leroy Davis. That was towards the end of his career, and he used to train with Kenny Brown. So what other training partners did he have? No, he didn't have many training partners, but he kind of kept them, because the gym used to be shut. Because Temple Gym, he would shut it in the morning. I think he used to get there, and I think about half an hour before they started training, they used to get their weights ready. So they could literally go, because Dorian already had his workouts planned before he got to the gym. He used to keep a journal. And he used to write, basically, he knew exactly what he was doing before he even got to the gym, what weights he was going to lift, what reps he was going to do, sorry. And so he was very methodical, very, very sort of regimented. Everything was planned, and it was very to the letter, to the T. So, so Dorian Yates got a new podcast basically. So go check that out. And if you've never ever seen, if you're one of the bodybuilding fans that has never seen Blood and Guts, the original DVD, that training video was a huge source of inspiration. You've never seen? Oh my God. Go and watch it. It's fantastic. He puts a lot of the clips on, look at these shots. These are the shots that really, Dorian Yates was already Mr. Olympia. He'd already won one Olympia by the time these photos were taken. But these are the ones that were taken 6 weeks out from the 1993 Mr. Olympia. And these are the ones that literally shit everyone up. All the pros in California, when they saw these pictures that got to Joe Weider's office, these are Kevin Horton shots. You know what? Kevin Horton won't do a podcast. He's a really good friend, but he doesn't like doing interviews. And I've known Kevin for many, many years. And I'm going to ask him again. Kevin Horton, the photographer, did these pictures. And they did a lot of Dorian Yates' pictures, did a lot of Ronnie Coleman pictures. What?
Do you know who I see in that as a younger
Who?
version?
Who'd you see?
Amir.
Oh, Mia. Wow, he's going to be very happy. Hey, Amir. Lauren thinks you look like the famous black and white socks pictures of Dorian Yates. You've just made that kid's year.
Aww.
You've made that kid's year.
It's only
And he's only, I mean, that kid's 22. So, I mean, the thing is, who's to say Amir Omaragic couldn't be the next Dorian Yates? I mean, look, at 22, I don't think anyone's ever, well, there's some, but I mean, he's just got second in his first pro show at the Big Man Weekend. But yeah, that's the only shot he's put up. But these pictures were incredible. So, I mean, Dorian Yates, what a legend, man. I mean, I started following the sport in 1990 in April. So I was only 13. I wasn't even 14 yet. And I started buying all the magazines. And it was just as Dorian Yates, because in the May of 1990, Dorian Yates took second at the New York Pro in his pro debut to Mohamed Benaziza. And then the following year, he went back to the Night of Champions, won that, and then took second to Lee Haney, who won his 8th and final Olympia at the 1991 Olympia. So that's when Dorian really started to sort of make waves in the pro ranks, and then he ended up winning 6 Olympias, retiring through injury with 6 Sandow trophies. But yeah, I mean, he's just awesome, isn't he? He's just awesome. And he was talking about ayahuasca here today. If you actually watched an interview I did back in, I think it was 2019, and he said for me to join him on an ayahuasca. He said he'd guide me through it, but $3,500. So I said, yeah, okay. Maybe I'll do a GoFund. I tell you what, if you want to do a GoFundMe for me to take some ayahuasca and go and chill with Dorian in Costa Rica and, have a mental purge, I'm your guy. So, seriously, I'd do it. I mean, I'd do it, but I don't want to pay. It's expensive, but I mean, it's really, ayahuasca changed my perspective on life and reality. I had researched a lot about it before taking it. It showed me how much more there is to life. Would you take ayahuasca? Yep, if you want to pay for it. So anyway, we're not talking about this stuff. Anyway, so yeah, Dorian Yates, new podcast. Check it out. I'm assuming it's on Dorian Yates' YouTube channel. And like Dorian, I mean, I love interviewing Dorian. I love speaking to him. He's got a real life experience. And if you want to know more about Dorian Yates, go check out their Generation 9 documentary. I saw the premiere of that. Sat behind Dorian and Gal in November 2019 in Birmingham. His whole family was there, all his friends. And that was a really amazing experience, watching, literally sat, bang, literally in the seat right behind Dorian Yates, watching him watch his own kind of life story, in a cinema in Birmingham, literally a 5-10 minute walk from where the original Temple Gym used to be. So that was an amazing experience. Check it out. It's a really, really good documentary. I think it's Generation 9's best. So, and it's a really good, really interesting story about this guy's life, and what he achieved and where he came from the streets and, ended up becoming Mr. Olympia. So, right, we're going to go next to Brett Wilkin, who we just had on in this episode. Brett obviously came second at the Chicago Pro last year to Hunter Labrada. Incredible debut as an open pro. Didn't do any more shows for the rest of 2021. Sorry, I'm getting the years mixed up. And he's now got the invite for the 2022 Arnold Classic, which I'm very excited about. He said in the interview, as you've seen, he estimates he'll be about 8 pounds heavier. So he's going to be... So basically, this was him at 242. Can we put the sound on?
In this sport?
Yeah, I put the sound on. Should we put the sound on?
No, because I've copied.
Oh, okay. But there's voices over the top. Is that okay? Look at Rolly, yeah. I love Rolly. Yes, this was the Chicago Pro. This was where he took second. He beat Rolly Winkler, who was 5th. I can't remember who else was in it. Who else was in it? I can't even remember now. Well, Hunter Labrada was 1st. Brett was 2nd. And this really catapulted Brett to kind of, this was like, okay, this guy's, he wasn't really on anyone's radar. In fact, I think it was when he did the guest posing at the Junior USA, Billy was MC.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and he guessed because he's a Matt Jansen athlete, and he came out with Nick Walker and Shawn Clarida, and I think he was like 6 weeks out, 8 weeks out or something. And I tell you what, he looked really, really good next to, I mean, if you could not get completely blown off the stage when you're next to, not even a contest condition, Nick Walker and Shawn Clarida, 2 of the absolute best in the world, the 212 Mr. Olympia, and someone who's a very fast upcoming pro, Nick Walker, that's a really, really good place to be. So, he said he's not really posting many pictures. So look. Yeah. So he's hang on. If you're not 9 week out, yeah. So he's really not wanting to sort of show too much there. But I tell you what, I mean, I know you can't tell much from this picture, but he's kept the waist nice and small. Looks like The waistline looks nice and tight, which, you know, for a guy like this, I mean, this is, I see him as more of an aesthetic type physique. You know, you got guys like Rafael Brandao, Samson Dauda, Regan Grimes, you know, these guys that now are really filling up the top spots and bringing real aesthetic physiques to the open. You know, this is a guy that really needs to keep doing what he's doing and keep it nice and steady, keep the improvements coming nice and steadily. And if he keeps that midsection tight, Brett's a guy that could literally go all the way. I mean, here's a guy, a couple of years. Look at all the sponsors. Hostile, Gasp, Better Bodies, Flavor Gang, Armbrust Pro Gym, Fat Paulie's Cookies, and the Pride's Food. So these, I mean, this guy's got like 5-6 sponsors here. And he's at the Armbrust Gym, which seems to be a really good, positive... It's kind of like the Dragon's Lair and some of these other sort of destination in Dallas, you know, where bodybuilders are really kind of nurtured and encouraged and supported. It's great to see, isn't it? It's great to see, you know, these kinds of gyms because, you know, once these athletes put themselves in these kinds of environments where they are encouraged, you know, only good things happen. So, yeah, fantastic. So I'm really excited. I like the way he's not showing too much. I mean, he's literally, you know, he's not really... do you want to see anything on here? This. Oh, there's Ben Chair there. Let's have a look at some training stuff. Let's have a look. Yeah, nice strict form there, mate. That's what we like to see. He's really strict. I've never done like that before with my legs back. Because he's not sat on the machine there, have you noticed? He's doing that, I'm assuming, to arch his back to get more of a contraction. And see, he's only got 2 plates on there. So I love that machine. That's his wife, Ivana Ivasush, top 6. She's been top 6 Olympia figure. Yeah, she's really good, Ivana. She didn't do as well last year, but I mean, you know, she's one of the, well, she's in the top 6, you know, one of the best figure ladies on the planet. So I hope to see her back up in the winner's circle this year. Cool. And hopefully see her back up in the top 6 of the Olympia. So, because I think she's got a lovely, lovely shape, Ivana, actually. I wonder if there's any pictures of her on here. Maybe. So, yeah, but... Great couple, lovely people. Yeah, so, yeah, Brett was one of the real breakout athletes of 2021, and it was so good because I think he was in 2018 when he competed before, was it 2019? 2018 he was a classic amateur, I hope that's right, at the junior, was it USA's? Or junior USA's? And in 2019 he was a 212, and then in 2021, 2 years later, he came to Chicago Pro at 242 and took second to Hunter Labrada. Yeah, it's good form. I like seeing good form, you see. I think people nowadays do train smarter. I think... you think? What? You don't? No, I'm on about bodybuilders, not just people, just general people in the gym.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So, so I'm really, really, really... I think Brett and Samson are the two... Who else is there? Oh, Regan Grimes... I'm very interested to see at the Arnold Classic as well because, I mean, you saw what he did and the improvements he made from the Olympia to the Legion Sport and the Egypt show. There was a guy that really, really improved in a very short space of time working with Milos. So, yeah, look at that. I mean, another 8 pounds on that. If that's mostly on his upper body, could Brett be top 3 at the Arnold Classic? I'll have to look at the lineup. He could be. I mean, you know, there's no reason why he couldn't be. I mean, I think he could definitely be first call out. It's going to be a good lineup, though. It's going to be a good lineup. But if he makes a good impression and looks good and gets a fair look at the Arnold Classic, you know, this is really, even just being looking good in a big pro show like the Arnold Classic in Columbus, that's going to open him up to a whole new level of excellence, and kind of people are going to perceive him differently is basically what I'm trying to say. So anyway, yeah, so there's not a huge deal on there. So that's usually a good sign. Really excited to see Brett. So, yep. Okay, we're going to go to the Olympia. Completely forgot why. 3.5 million followers. Yes, good. Why did I bring this up?
I don't know.
I do that sometimes. Something sparks in my head, and then I bring it up, and I'm like, completely fucking forgot. So, what else was it? I'm sure, what was it? So, lots of glutes. Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah, of course. Was the sad passing of 1982 Mr. Olympia, Chris Dickerson. Chris was, he was Mr. Olympia. He was the 6th man to win the Mr. Olympia. He's died at 82. I forget the reason what happened. I think he had some heart issues that he didn't recover from, something like that. I can go and check. But I've met him twice. He's actually sat behind me at the 2010 Mr. Olympia. Lee Haney was behind me, and Chris Dickerson was behind me. And so one of the, so that's a few Mr. Olympias we've lost now. But I mean, 82 is a good age. It's a good age. And he was doing a bit of opera singing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, opera singing. Yeah, and he actually, it was the Oscar Heidenstam dinner in London, and he was honoured. Saw Larry Scott there the year before. He came over, and he did a speech, and he just started singing. It's like, oh, like really like opera singing. Literally, it was like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool, you know. So, he had fantastic quads, fantastic calves. He was also at the time, he was the oldest guy to win the Mr. Olympia. He was 42, I believe, when he won the 82 Mr. Olympia. And guess where it was? At the Olympia in London. Yeah, that's the only only Mr. Olympia that's ever been a contest that's ever been held in London. This was when the Mr. Olympia used to be held all over the world. It's been to Sweden, it's been to Finland, trying to think what the other countries, and then basically, you know, settled in America. It's been LA, Vegas, Atlanta, Georgia. So, you know, they have taken this contest a lot of New York. It was many times. But so I just wanted to acknowledge the another legend, you know, that's sadly passed away. But 82 good innings, as we say in the UK. But fantastic athlete, one of only 16 men in existence in the industry to win the Mr. Olympia. So that's a huge achievement, you know. So, 1983 was that was in Munich, Germany. That was Samir Banu. And in 84, I think it was New York. That was when Lee Haney won his first of 8. So, it's Dan. I tell you what, I like his suit. I like his blue suit. So I'm going to have to find out who his tailor is. So, she looks familiar. Is that not front? No. Sorry, looks familiar. What else? That's pretty much the only thing I wanted to bring up on that Instagram page. Anything else interesting on here? Yeah. So the thing is, we're a bit of a sort of no man's land at the moment, because there's kind of, you know, obviously towards the end of 2021 there was a show on pretty much every single weekend, some more than one shows. And now it's pretty much, you know, it's post-Christmas. Everyone's kind of just getting back to their training, and some people are actually dieting and prepping for the Arnold Classic. But the next really big contest for the calendar is the Arnold Classic. And I'm glad the Arnold Classic's back at March. Otherwise, we'd have literally nothing to talk about until the Boston or the Indy. So it's good that we've got a huge show to look forward to. And the Arnold Classic is now back in March because obviously for COVID, it was moved to September. So there's only 6 months between these Arnold Classics in Columbus. And I hope to see more Arnold Classics back internationally as well. I really want to see the Arnold Australia come back, because I was chatting to Tony Doherty the other day, actually, because Australia seems to have been really hit hard by the whole COVID thing, and the whole it seems very much behind the rest of the world in terms of their recovery, and everyone's really suffering over there. So with lockdowns and all these other things. So I really, really, really hope we get the Arnold Australia back on the calendar. So look at Jay there. Awesome. That's not actually taken at Olympia, that picture. That was taken at the Ironman.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the Ironman in, I want to say 2003. Yeah, the lighting there at the Ironman, Pro Ironmans. Mike Neville, the photographer, used to set up the lighting for the show, and it was incredible. I mean, look at the lighting there. I mean, is that a Per Bernal shot? I'm guessing it is. Is that, or Mike Neville might be Neville. I like finding out guessing who the photographer is. So I can usually tell by the start. Look at that shot of Derek Lunsford. Wow. Look at that. Oh my God. I tell you what, Ron's right. Even as he is at the 212, imagine that in an open. He doesn't have to go up to 220 or 225 to do well as an open. He looks sensational as he looks there. I just can't believe he brought that to the 212. I just thought that if you'd have shown me that picture, I'd have said, oh, Derek's moved up to open. He's like 230. But he's 212 there.
Very symmetrical.
Yes, and his legs have hugely improved this year. I mean, for me, Derek Lunsford, and I kind of guessed, I hoped that he was going to be the shock of the Olympia. And I think he was, for me. I think when I saw the pictures first coming through from the Olympia last year, they're the ones that I went, holy shit! Look what him and Hani have done, and I think it was so built up all through the year, for the whole year that Hani Rambod and Derek were working together. It was so exciting for the hype to be real and to see it come to fruition like this, because I mean what a sensational win for Derek Lunsford. And of course we have Andrea Shaw, who for me was the most dominant Olympia winner last year. I told her that. Apparently she, a coach, what's his name? Richard Simmons? Yeah, said he liked what I wrote about in my MD column, saying that she steamrolled the competition. So we're going to have to, Andrea Shaw's new nickname has to be the Steamroller, because she absolutely steamrolled the competition at the Olympia last year. So, and tell you what though, the Olympia champions at the moment, they're so dominant. You've got Chris Bumstead, who's 1-3, and people reckon he can win 4, 5, 6. Andrea Shaw, Derek Lunsford is going to be tough to beat next year. Rami, who else is? Oh, Sydney Gillen. My God, I mean, we could have a run of multi Olympia champions. If that makes any sense. No, it doesn't, Giles. Right, okay. I'm going to go to Brandon Curry, who just tagged me into this latest picture. Of course, the 2019 Mr. Olympia, number 15. The 15th, if Chris Dickerson was the 6th, he is the 15th Mr. Olympia ever. Look at his shoulders. I tell you what, have you seen his shoulders up close? Well, you have, haven't you? Well, that's how we met, wasn't it, dear? Yes. Myself and Lauren met. We met at a Brandon Curry Olympia All-Star Tour seminar down in London, and our first ever interaction was she just said, you boy, peasant.
I did not.
She handed me her phone and basically wanted me to take a picture of her with Brandon Curry. So look at his back. Hang on, sorry, I'm over that story now. I'm just looking at Brandon's back. So yeah, Brandon. I mean, Brandon. I'm really excited to see the rematch between Brandon Curry and William Bonac at the Arnold Classic, because Brandon. What was my point?
I don't know.
I forgot my point. Yes. Sorry. The 2019 Arnold Classic that I was. He's dancing. At the Arnold Classic in 2019, I had William Bonac winning the prejudging, but then Brandon just came out sensational for the night show and looked absolutely incredible and pipped William, who was actually the defending champion at that time. I love Brandon. Do you know what? He was so cool to do that tour with. I think one of my favourite memories is when we did the. There was a podium thing in one of the little towns in Portugal, in Lisbon, and there was like a plinth, with a 1, 2, 3, like the Olympic thing. Yeah. And of course, Brandon looked at me, I looked at him. We both saw this plinth in the middle of the town, and I knew what he was going to do, and he just ran off. He had a backpack on. He ran off, and then he went up onto the number 1 and started going, yeah. And then basically I posted it on Instagram with some Rocky music. So, but it was one of my favorite memories of, he was so cool. Such a laid back guy, so easy to work with, great to travel with. It's funny because I put on an episode of Globe Muscle and I had his coach Abdullah, and Brandon was in the back of the car and we were playing it, and I just thought, and I said to Brandon, I said, "Oh, Brandon, I hope I haven't dissed you in this, mate, because you're in the back of my car." So, and he said, "Giles," he says, "even if you did," he said, "it's not really going to bother me." So that's how cool Brandon Curry is. And I tell you what, there's a guy that was an ambassador and represented that title with great Sandow comes great responsibility. That's a bit of a play on words from the old Spider-Man thing, because I tell you what, he really made the most of that. And also from a business point of view, personally, Brandon, I mean, they've got their own supplement brand, the O15. I mean, look at it, and they've got these brands of bags. They've got a chain of gyms, the Carbon Culture health clubs that look apps. I mean, they're not just some 2-bit spit and sawdust gyms. I mean, these gyms are beautiful. And I think they've got several outlets now, but they really took that title and they gave a lot and they also gained a lot from it. And I think if any Olympia champion doesn't capitalize on that, you're a mug, basically, because there's great things that you can do with that title that can set you and your families up for life. So I just so Brandon was a shining example of someone that really got the most out of it. So what else do you want to see on Brandon? I forget. That's a good shot. So Brandon Curry doing the Arnold Classic. So, I mean, for me, it's going to be between him and William Bonac again. So, what else is yeah, that looks so cool. See, that's how a Mr. Olympia should look. Not obviously when they've got. I mean, imagine. See, that looks like. I mean, as a representative of the industry, doesn't that look amazing? Rather than just turning up in smelly baggies and it looks so. Look at that, and Brandy's basically styled him from head to toe. So that's his obviously lovely wife. So we'll have to get her on the show soon as well, and get her on Buff Bombshell, get her interviewed, and because I mean those just they're just wonderful people, real not just a power couple but a power family. I mean the whole family is just amazing. So anyway, so I just want to show some love to my friend Brandon. So and of course William Bonac. Literally, this is the shot I saw the other day that got my attention. Look at that. I mean that's obviously a new shot. I'm taking it. We've got 9 weeks to go. To the Arnold Classic. Friday is the prejudging and Saturday will be the final. So it's over 2 days this year, the Arnold Classic. So that'll be interesting. Because he dropped to 6th at the Olympia this year, which is still very, very impressive. Top 6 at the Olympia. It's incredible. But so really looking forward to seeing the, Brandon and William going head to head. So, yes. So I'm probably a safe guess that that'll be the 1 and 2 at the... you got itchy hand? Yes. Oh, I thought you were telling me to hurry up. Right, okay then. Other big news is 1 week after the Arnold Classic, it's the first Boston Pro Show. And they've also got Jay Cutler helping them to promote it. So... Hang on, some looking to Jay.
And big shout out from 4-time Mr. O, Jay Cutler here.
Who's that?
Announcing the Boston Pro Show is happening.
Yeah!
March 12th. It's just 1 week after the Arnold. All divisions, bodybuilding, men's physique, classic, women's wellness that you guys are excited about, bikini. We have it all happening there. And some greats are going to be in the house, such as Ronnie Coleman.
Yes, Ronnie's
Bill
there.
Heath, Flex Wheeler, myself. Wow. Andre Ferguson, many great champions, but also the great competitors that are going to be competing.
Right, that sounds fantastic. Ronnie's going to be there, Flex Wheeler's going to be there, Phil Heath's going to be there. So I'm guessing they're really pushing the boat out for this show, and it's great that they've got Jay on board helping to promote. I wonder if he's a partner.
Most likely.
I wonder if he's probably maybe he's a partner, or maybe they just want to maybe they're giving him some free trade stand space for the for his supplement brand.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know I mean, a lot of these. I mean, Phil Heath have. I mean, Ronnie, Jay. They've all got their own kind of NPC pro qualifying events. Because obviously their name brings the people in. They usually partner up with a good local show promoter. And it's a win-win for everyone. But the Boston Pro was actually postponed last year because of COVID. I'm sure it was it 2020 even might have been planned. But so it's great to see this event finally going ahead. So give these guys a follow. Boston Pro Show, March the 12th, just 1 week. Remember Nate Spears we had on last episode? He's doing it. He's making his pro debut here. So, and obviously 1 week after the Arnold Classic, you are bound to get some of the, the feed off from the Arnold Classic. So you're going to get probably even to the last minute, you're going to get a lot of big names jumping in. So guys, get your tickets. And give these. Is this the promoter here? Oh, there's Nate. There's Nate there. Who's this guy? Is this the promoter? Oh, who's this guy?
I got big news for you. Exciting news for you. Breaking news for you. The Boston Pro is coming to Boston on March 12th, and you got an opportunity.
The Boston Pro Show is coming to Boston. It reminds me of the Egyptian Islam Cortez, the KO Squad guy. He looks like a American version. Or Freddie. Ryan Reynolds, yeah, he does. Do you know what? Squint. That is right. That could be Ryan Reynolds. He should come on in a Green Lantern outfit or something. Or Deadpool. No, but the Deadpool's got a mask on him. Won't be able to tell. So anyone could be that. So huge new event. I mean, I'm so excited. It's so exciting when we get all these new events coming to the pro scene. I mean, last year we had the new Egyptian Pro Show. I'm trying to think. Loads of other pro shows. What are the new pro shows last year? Come on, quick, think. Was Pittsburgh a pro show the year before?
No, yeah.
No, it was a pro show last year. Had wellness and some other pro categories. But in terms of new, we are, Ronnie. Yay. Yeah. Can I say how many views we've got on our latest episode of Nothing But a Podcast I do with Ronnie Coleman on Ronnie Coleman's channel? Can I say? Thank you. Well, the latest episode of myself chatting to Ronnie about his fishing and going NASCAR driving and how training's going. In 3 days, we've got, at time of filming of this, 300,000 views, which is the high in all 10 years I've been doing video. That is the highest viewed video ever that I've been personally involved with. So 300,000 people have seen the side of my head in this humble studio. So oh my God, that was such a nice start to the year. It was so exciting. And Ronnie, and I think because basically Ronnie's feeling good. He's had no surgeries for a while, for a couple of years. His training's going well. He says he's back up to 285. He's put 30 pounds on, and he just looks so bright and great, doesn't he? He looks so happy, and and he's there fishing, and he's all upbeat, and he's not kind of just all he looked a bit. Obviously a few years he's been through a hard time the last few years, Ronnie, with all his surgeries, and like he said in the next episode, he hasn't been able to train properly, and and for someone like Ronnie, that's just, you're just robbing the guy of his life, really. I mean, that's one of the things he lives for, to train. So yeah, it's really good. So I think it's a real kind of feel good. So go check it out. So fantastic, so excited, and I like to see Jay Cutler, Ronnie, all these guys supporting, because it's important for new pro events, because I mean these events are like, they must be multi-million dollar in terms of investment for the venues, and all the different costings and stuff. I mean, a new event, your first one, it's a huge leap of faith. You never know whether it's going to be a success or a complete failure. So great to see. So give these guys a support, give them a follow. And hopefully, if you live in the area or you're able to travel, get your ass to this event, because it will be. Maybe I'll have to get on the show, promote it. Well, we'll have to do it for the Pro League Cup show. So I'll have to get him on. And okay, I'm going to go next. Hot news is Justin Shire, new pro. This guy was the heavyweight winner at the NPC Nationals. Was it a week before Christmas or 2 weeks? I don't know. 14th. That's 2 weeks, 11 days. Yeah. So, new IFBB pro. So very, very, very happy to see. Look at his arms. Wow. Tell you what, if I'm trying to think who his physique reminds me of. Dennis Wolf? No. Dennis Wolf? Yeah. The shoulder to waist maybe. But here's a guy that if he retains these lines and these kind of proportions as he gets bigger, here's a guy that could be a really, really, really good pro. So his shape is absolutely stunning. Look at that. Nice aesthetics as well. Yeah, look at the condition. Who's he prepped by? And Fuad Abiad is also sponsoring him in Hostile. He's Matt Jansen. He's a Matt Jansen athlete, of course. Sorry. Help me bring my... Yeah. Look at that. What a physique. Yeah. I wonder what he weighs. Well, he's heavyweight, so he's under 225. So I'm guessing he's close to 225. So what I'm trying to say is whether he'll go open or 212. What do we think? So sorry. So yeah, great proportions, great symmetry. I like his arms. They're cool. They remind me of someone as well. Don't matter. Anyway, it's irrelevant anyway. So, right, okay then. Yeah, so interesting to see. I like the detail in the legs as well. So interesting to see what Justin will be bringing to the pro ranks and when he's deciding to compete next. So, yeah, fantastic. Right, okay, I'm going to give some Berus Tabani. Remember him from Romania? Stop yawning. It's all right. It's fine. Third place at Romania. Now, here's a guy. I tell you what, once this guy gets stateside, we are going to be seeing a lot more of this guy. I mean, he could have won, and no one would have argued. Oh, yeah. Look at him.
He was cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. Was that his first pro show?
I don't know.
I'll have to get some... Unfortunately, doesn't speak very good English. I spoke to Milos, and look at his glutes. Oh, my God. Tell you what. There's Quint, there's Samson, Raphael, Milan Shadak there. I'm really happy to see Milan looking back to his best. Looking really, really good. There's Raphael there. There's Samson. Sorry, I'm going. And so Berus, I tell you what, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this guy. He is very, very impressive. Yeah. So, like I said, when Milos was sending me the progress pictures, I wasn't sure how it would translate to stage because you know what everyone looks like. Everyone looks amazing on Instagram. But is that Dreamtan? Is he used Dreamtan there?
I know, it looks beautiful.
Do you like it?
Oh, it's so bronzy.
You like it? It's very like a gold color, isn't it? That's like the old Dreamtan 2. I mean, yeah, I used to like the Dreamtan 1. That was, if it is. That's what it looks like. I used to like the Dreamtan 2, the red one. We got to put it on properly. Can't put it on too thick or muddy. But yeah, what a physique! I tell you what. I mean, I'm not saying he could be the next Hadi, but well, I am actually. Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm saying it. Well, I don't like to say someone could be the next someone, but he could go that far, is what I'm saying. So, it's a new face. So I really hope he gets his visa sorted, gets himself to the USA to compete. But I tell you what, Behrooz Tabani, keep an eye out for this guy because he is on the rise, as we say. Okay, going to go to the Arnold Classic, March 3rd to the 6th. Do you think they could move it? Because Batman's out on March the 4th. So I'm going to have to speak to Arnold about this. Can you make a note, please? Call Arnold. Get him to move it because the new Batman film is out on March the 4th. So I'm going to have to make a decision. Imagine that, Ron. Poor Ron's there working by himself. He's like, where's Giles? Oh, he's gone to see the Batman film. So I completely forgot why I brought this up as well. What was it? I don't think I remember, actually. Yeah. Well, we went over the list last episode anyway. But I'm very excited to see Samson, Brett Wilkin, obviously new faces, and Regan Grimes, but also Nathan. Nathan said he didn't actually apply, but they've invited him because the plan was he was going to go back to Kuwait to prep, and then he was going to shut it down and get ready for the Olympia. But and I messaged him the other day and I said, mate, are you definitely doing the Arnold? He didn't respond. So I know, because I really want to see Nathan Diasha in the Arnold Classic. I mean, he's never done the Arnold Classic. He's won everything else apart from the Olympia. So, I mean, Nathan at his best. Could Nathan win it?
Yes.
Yeah, he could, couldn't he?
Yes.
Could he be? Well, he's got to get past Brandon and William Bonac.
I don't know if we have seen him.
William Bonac and Brandon Curry. Could he get both back? If he beat either William or Brandon, then he's really setting himself up for the Olympia there, as in a real serious contender. But I mean, certainly top three. I mean, top two, if they bring their best, like Bonac and Brandon, they're so consistent. I could see the final three being Nathan, Brandon, and William. But then Samson beat Nathan, didn't he? At where did he beat him? Prague, Romania. Prague, beat him at Prague, Romania, Egypt. Oh, God, I've completely forgotten. Do you know what? There was that many shows at the end of last year. So, sorry. Yes. 2021. It's not even 2020. It's 2022. I'm getting giddy. So yeah. Anyway, right. Okay. That was, I completely forgot why I brought that up. Must have been a reason. Oh, it's probably that picture I saw of Bonac and Brett Wilkin, but we've already brought those up. So anyway, right. I'm going to go to the one of our last ones. Fouad Abiad has been doing some awards, and I just wanted to give you my take on that. So probably going to get some hate for this, but bring it on. John Meadows Award, Milos Sarjev. I agree with that. Luke Sando Award, Ian Valliere. Okay, I agree with that. Okay, so far so good. Okay, well, I wonder why he's done them in separate posts. Best overall season, Nick Walker. I don't think there's anyone denying that one. I mean, if you win the New York Pro, Arnold Classic, and then you get top 5 at the Olympia in your second year as a pro, I mean, it doesn't really get any better than that. I mean, well, could have made top 3 at the Olympia, but I mean, he won the Arnold Classic and the New York Pro. You know, he only made his pro debut the year before when he took 4th at Chicago Pro. So, best ambassador, Big Remy. I'm going to get some hate for this, but I don't agree with this. I don't think I'm not saying when Rami's out and about, yes, he's a fantastic ambassador. I'm sure maybe he's been doing lots of stuff in Egypt, but for me, I mean, really for the first half of the year, last year, obviously, when he was just turned Mr. Olympia, he was nowhere to be seen. No one heard from Rami. He wasn't really doing any interviews. I mean, I think I've seen maybe 2 interviews in a whole year. I've tried reaching out to him. I know Ron at MD has, and a lot of other outlets have tried, and you don't even get a response. So I disagree with this. Personally, I mean, like I said about Brandon Curry, Brandon Curry always made himself available. He was out and about. He was, and the thing is, don't forget, you're doing this traveling and representing and interviews and turning up to bloody kids things and military things, as an ambassador, as Mr. Olympia. I haven't seen Ramy doing this. I know he did a little bit last year, but for the first 6 to 8 months, I heard he didn't even train. I don't know what's going on there. I've heard various things, but I disagree with that. I'm sorry. I love Ramy. I think he's fantastic. But when you become Mr. Olympia, you don't basically go dark for 8 months, and not when you're not reachable, and so I disagree with that, but I'm hoping Ramy will step it up this year, because at the end of the day, when you've got that title, you need to really, it's a huge responsibility, and I'd like to see him doing more. Is basically what I'm saying. I'm not a Ramy hater by any stretch. I love Ramy, but basically, I love the guy, and we want to see more of him. And I think he needs to do more and get more out and about. Maybe do some more traveling. And I know he's got family and everything like that, but you've only got a short window for while you're Mr. I speaking to Ronnie the other day, and he was saying, like, even when he was Mr. Olympia for 8 straight years, he said even though he was Mr. Olympia for that long, he said it went by like a flash. So. So love you, Ramy, but want to see more from you, mate. So, and you can't do what Dorian did, because Dorian was a different, kettle of fish. But and in them days, there was no social media. He had Peter McGough, right? What? Scratching. Sorry. Just waving your hands. Most shredded, Ian Valier. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Fan favorite, Nick Walker. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Absolutely is. In terms of open bodybuilding, I don't think there's... really, Nick Walker, Ramy, Hadi maybe? In terms of geographically,
Chris Bumstead.
Well, I just said open.
Oh.
You missed that. So. Chris Bumstead's classic, dear. Best coach, Matt Jansen. Yeah, if you look at the results he's been producing, Shawn Clarida, Brett Wilkin, Nick Walker, he's really... if you in terms of results, this guy is getting them. So, most improved, Brett Wilkin, absolutely 100%, going from 212 to 242, 30 pounds of muscle, and going in place in second to Hunter Labrada. Absolutely agree with that. Most potential, Quintin Area. Yeah. I think that's fair. I'd certainly agree with that. Quintin, how was he? 25, 26 still? 27? Look at it. To me, he looks like a taller potential version of Lee Haney. A couple more years... But yeah, a couple more. Well, another year, another 2 years, a bit more size, nice and steady. As you said, we had him on Global Muscle a few weeks ago, sorry. And he's like 6'1" as well, so he's got a huge frame, and he is improving, and he's smart as well. This kid's in no rush, but he's doing everything right. Breakout star Nick Walker's getting some love, isn't he? He's getting some love. Yeah, breakout star Nick Walker. Like I said, Arnold Classic, New York Pro, top 5 at the Olympia. Absolutely phenomenal. Biggest shocker, Shawn Clarida. I'm guessing that's in reference to the Legion Sport, the open show. Like I said with Ron Harris in this episode, that was a huge shock. I thought he was crazy doing an open show, but he did it. He won it, and he won it hands down. And yeah, it was a shock. I think the biggest shock was the fact that he wanted to do an open show right after the Olympia. And the fact that he actually won it so convincingly against, Regan Grimes, Sergio Olivo, 250, 270, huge bodybuilders. And here's Shawn at 174, completely blowing him off the stage. That is very, very impressive. So, there's more here. Okay, got body parts, best back, Brandon Curry. Yeah, I'll go for that. Yeah. In terms of, the shape of it's like a bloody cobra, isn't it? Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Best legs, Hadi Choopan. Disagree with that.
Yes.
Because Hadi's legs at the Olympia this year, his right leg was atrophied. So maybe the Hadi Choopan of 2017 or the other years or 2019, like the Vancouver, yes, but not this year. Disagree with that. Best arms, Nick Walker. Oh my God, his arms are just ridiculous. Yep. Best chest, Brandon Curry. Best chest.
Yes.
Who's else has got a good chest? Hang on, I can't think of anyone. Yeah, I'll give him that. Best midsection? Raphael, yeah. Yeah, nice tight midsection, good abs. Yeah. So I pretty much agree with most of those. I'm sure they don't give a shit if I disagree, but that's just hey, bit of a slow week, guys. So right, okay. Our final hot news is, now this isn't really news, but this just popped up on MD's Instagram feed, and I got excited when I saw this picture. So, and it really got me thinking, actually, because we're going to see Regan Grimes and Rafael Brandao at the Arnold Classic next to each other. So we've got because everyone likes a good battle, a good versus. You got the rematch of Brandon Curry and William Bonac going up against each other. I'm excited to see Nathan and Samson going up against Nathan D'Asher and Samson Dowda going up against each other again, because they've had a few clashes, and Nathan beat him at the Arnold UK, and then Samson beat him at the, where did he beat him? Egypt. Prague. Nathan was fourth. God, I can't believe that. Shocked by that. Not going to lie. And of course, they're both. Hang on. They're both 28. Is that right? I think Regan Grimes might be. Well, Rafael is 28, and I think Regan. So anyway, so similar levels in their career. Both have got a pro win. We got. Which one did Rafael Brandao win, Lauren? Yeah, you got it right. Because you were there doing the live stream. And of course, Regan Grimes won in Egypt. So second at the Legion Sport, like I said, behind Shawn Clarida. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, because both guys are really. Who do you think is going to win? Who's going to beat who then? Come on. Regan. You think Regan's going to beat Rafael?
Yes.
I think Regan's probably going to show the most improvement, but will that be enough to beat Rafael? Because hang on, Rafael and Regan competed against each other at the 2020 NPC European. That was when James Hollinshead won, and Regan was second and Rafael was third. So Regan has beaten Rafael before, so it's going to be interesting to see. So far it's 1 to Regan, 0 to Rafael, but Rafael is really kind of improving. He's on the up as well. So anyway, cut a long story short, it's going to be exciting to see these two going up against each other in Columbus on March 3rd to the 6th. So like I said, it'll be very interesting to see these two guys going up against each other. Right, okay then, guys, that is the end of Season 4, Episode 45 of MD Global Muscle, Episode 125. Wow, that's halfway to 250, a quarter to 500, and an eighth towards Episode 1000. Do you think we'll ever reach 1,000 episodes?
Well, if it took you 3
That's
years to do 100,
hang on. 3 times. Go on, do the math. Quick.
So then it's going to be 21 years, because it's 3 times.
21 years. Maybe we won't make 1,000 episodes, but let's set 250 as our next target, eh? Oh, Christ. Right, okay then, guys. And also check out the latest issue of Muscular Development there. Obviously with a beautiful cover there of Shawn Rhoden there in memoriam. Nice feature in there. And so anyway, it's good to be back, guys. 2022, let's go for it. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. So, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get all the updates when all the new episodes are out. So, okay guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And ladies and gentlemen, we are out.